word that can describe, type one word that describes your day so far. Okay, I had a very splendid day today. And to add this masterclass to it, it's going to be so awesome. Yeah, Adupe, Akolade, thank you for that. I want to see more responses. I want to see more responses. Chilling, Adeza, fantastic. Okay, my meal, okay. I want to assume, Paul, you are referring to the masterclass. All right. So thank you very much for that. So welcome once again to today's session. All right. So to start today's session, okay, I want us to, start on a very high note. So we're going to do a little challenge. We're just going to, take 1 minute. It's a very small challenge. Now, if you are joining for the first time, you are joining our masterclass for the first time, okay, get ready to type F. Get ready to type F for first, okay? Now, if you're joining, if you're an old guy, you're already, familiar with our master classes, you type O, letter O, not number 0, letter O. So I'll count 1, 2, go, and we type, okay? So 1, 2, go. Let's see. Are you joining? Okay, Ade, fantastic. So the first guy, the new guys are winning. Okay, the new guys are winning. Stella, oh, fantastic. IJ, Honorina, that's nice. So the new guys are winning currently. Okay, so it's interesting to know that we have a lot of new or first timers here. So welcome to today's session. Okay, so I would share my screen. Okay, and then start. So if you're wondering, you're seeing my face for the first time. Okay, my name is Mohammed Suleiman. I'm a senior data associate here at Analytics. Just give me a moment. Can we see my screen? Can we see my screen?
Yes, we can.
Okay. All right, just give me a moment. Okay. Now, today we are going to be doing something very interesting. Okay, we are going to be doing something very interesting. Now, one of the things that keeps you relevant in the tech space in the first place is that you need to stay up to date. And that's the reason, that's what this session is going to be centered around. We're going to be talking about Microsoft Fabric. Microsoft Fabric. Now, if you've heard of Microsoft Fabric, or if you've heard of Microsoft Fabric, let me know in the chat. Type yes. If you've not heard, type A, no. Type A, no. Type A, no. Okay, yes, Prince. Okay, Emmanuel, yes. Okay, IJ, no. I want to see more no's. I want to know if you've heard of Fabric or not. Okay, so we'll be talking, that's what this session is all about. Okay, we'll be talking about Microsoft Fabric. Okay, but for the benefit of those who are joining us for the first time, you don't know what Analytics is all about, what we stand for. Okay, Analytics is an edtech company. We are passionate about helping the Black community get into the world of tech. Now, you'd notice when you look at the tech industry on a global scale, you'd notice that there are just a handful of Black people in there. Okay, so what we stand for is to lower the entry bar into tech for the Black community. The reason why it's difficult to get, or it's difficult for the Black folks to get into the tech space, or the Black community to get into the tech space, is that it's difficult to gain access to a structured learning pattern and materials that would help you get into the tech space as quickly as possible. So that's what we stand for. Okay, and we offer programs cutting across data analytics, business analysis, data engineering, data science, financial analytics, HR analytics. The list is on and on. Okay, and power platform engineering. Now, you'll be working with facilitators like myself, like Adeza, and your facilitators, these are people whose jobs whose day-to-day jobs are what they will be teaching to you, in class. And they work, cutting across reputable organizations like Apple, Microsoft, McKinsey, mentioned them. Okay. Now, we have fantastic founders. We have fantastic founders. You can see Abdeza Suleiman, the founder of Analytics, okay, with nearly a decade of experience under his belt. He has worked as a data analytics expert, cutting across several sectors, including oil and gas, automobile, as well as the energy sector. Okay, he has trained closing on 9,000 participants, so far. Now, we also have Efemena Igbo. He is the co-founder of Analytics, an absolutely amazing person. He has worked with Post Office in the UK as the business data support lead and also as a BI developer with DPD in Ireland. Okay, he functions as a data scientist, a data engineer, and also with close to a decade of experience under his belt as well. Fantastic guys. Okay, now in 2022 alone, okay, in 2022 alone, one of our greatest achievements is that we've been able to, help over 500 participants make that switch from classroom all the way to landing their first tech role. Okay, and just a few days ago, one of the participants I personally prepared for an interview, okay, reached out to me, and guess what? He said he landed the job. Okay, and he resides in Spain. All right, he resides in Spain. He got the job as a data analyst in one of the world's largest, research pharmaceutical firm. All right, it's a private research pharmaceutical firm. Goes by the name Boringa Ingelheim. Is a Spanish word. Okay, so it's located in Barcelona. So these are the things these are the chances you stand when you join us here at Analytics. Now, our participants, work, they are now fixed into, the best of the best organizations across the globe, ranging from Amazon to Microsoft to Nestle to Cognizant. The list goes on and on. Okay. Now, a lot of media channels are also talking about the good work that we do here at Analytics, from Business Day to Nairametrics to Punch. You see them reiterating the fact that here at Analytics, we are passionate about, helping the Black community land tech jobs across the globe. Okay, we also held a hackathon, a data hackathon last year, where 1 million naira was up for grabs, and 5 participants, took a share of the money. They took it home. All right. So you'll get the slides. You'll be able to, read the details, go through the details of what I have on my screen. Okay. You can see Business Day, PR Fire, all, reiterating the fact that, we do a good work here in Analytics simply by lowering the entry bar into tech. Okay. Now, what is today's session centered around? In today's session, we are going to be doing 4 main things. Number one, like I said, we'll be talking about what Microsoft Fabric is. So for those who don't know or who have not seen the environment, I'll show you. Okay, I'll show you how it looks like, what it stands for, and how it's a very fantastic new tool, in the world of tech. Okay, I'll also be showing you a practical hands-on, okay, how to leverage Fabric as a data scientist. And afterwards, Adeza would come up and show us how to leverage this platform as a data analyst. We'll also be talking about how you can, make that switch, how you can get into our program, our data analytics, our data analyst track, as well as the data scientist, and the upcoming program starting in August. Okay, and we'll also be sharing success stories, just like the participant I mentioned earlier. His name is Nathaniel. Okay, Adeza will be giving us some details about how he was able to land the job. Okay, so what is Microsoft Fabric? Okay, so Microsoft Fabric is a new tool, developed by Microsoft, And the main aim is to provide a one-stop platform or a one-stop shop for data analysts, data scientists, data engineers, for all the professionals you'll find in the data space. Okay. And it's an all-in-one analytics solution for enterprises. Okay, that covers everything from data movement to data science to real-time analytics to business intelligence. Okay, it also offers a comprehensive suite of services, including data lakes, data engineering, data integration, and I'll be showing you, how that works in a moment. Okay. Now, to access Fabric, okay, to access Fabric, okay, I think somebody has their video on. Please turn off your, okay, thank you very much. Okay, so to access Fabric, you need a developer account, okay? You need a developer account. So how do you create a developer account? We have the link here. You'd see Adeza showing you how to develop a developer account, how to sign up for a developer account, and also get your Fabric items up and running. So you get the slides again, stick around to the end and you'd get the slide, you get the recordings and all the materials you need, to get started. Now, if you look down here, you'd see these are all, the Fabric items embedded into one platform called Microsoft Fabric. You have Data Factory, Synapse Data Engineering, Data Science, Data Warehousing, Real-Time Analytics, Power BI. How many of us know Power BI? How many of us know Power BI? If you know Power BI, type a 1 in the chat. We all know Power BI. Power BI is very popular. Fantastic. Thank you, Prince. Akolade, Tolulope. Okay, fantastic. So I assume we all know Power BI. So you see Power BI, in Fabric as well. Adeza will be showing us that. Okay, and we have what we call one lake. Okay, one lake. The one lake is like your Google Drive, your OneDrive, but this is solely, storing data. Okay, Fumilola, you said you don't know Power BI. That's the reason why Analytics exists. Okay, we've had participants who, from having no experience at all, they've come into our program, and they've gone on to get to land their first tech job. Okay, and we'll be looking at a very interesting case study. Okay, we'll be looking at a very interesting case study. Now, you've been employed as a data scientist, with one of the largest retail stores in Canada or in the UK. Now, your first task is to investigate the customer spending habits to facilitate an upcoming campaign in the organization. Okay, and as a data scientist, one of the things you'll be doing in your day-to-day is what we call EDA. And it's exploratory data analysis. Exploratory data analysis. Now, for this particular session, okay, we'll be doing what we call univariate analysis under the EDA. And what does this mean? Now, as a data scientist, you see yourself as a detective, okay? You are a detective in a particular crime case. So in that crime case, okay, you have individuals who are involved. As a detective, the first thing you want to do is to understand each of the individuals. You don't just start with, going to look for the relationship between those individuals. You want to start with understanding each of the individuals, their personality, how do they behave in certain, situations. Okay, so you are a detective. You are the data scientist. Okay, your data set is the crime case. Okay, and the columns or the entities in your data set are the individuals. Now, because we are going to be looking at them one after the other, like if you look at this question I have here, the first question, you see, what is the distribution of customer ages in the data set? Now, you can see the second question, what is the distribution of spending score? In the first question, we are looking at just ages alone. That's the first individual we are going to investigate. And then we'll go on to look at spending score. And you can see all the other, the other questions we'll be answering, okay? Now we'll be building visuals like this. We'll be building visuals like this. So at this point, like I said earlier, you'll be getting the materials, the video link, like you saw here, to setting up your Fabric account. Okay. Once you set up your Fabric account, all you need to do is to open your browser. So I'll go ahead and open my browser now. Okay, just give me a moment. Okay, can we all see my screen? Can we see my browser? Just type a yes if you can see my browser. We're about to start. Okay, thank you for that, Prince. Okay, now, once you've set up your account, all you need to do is to come to your browser and type in Microsoft Fabric. Okay, Microsoft Fabric, hit enter. So you see this page, you want to click on Fabric sign-in. Okay, Fabric sign-in. Click on Fabric sign-in. Click on Fabric sign-in. Okay, so the developer account you created, okay, you'd enter the email, enter the password, okay, and hit login. It's going to ask you, it's going to bring you to this page, and what you want to click on is ask later. Okay, ask later. So like I said, Fabric is a platform that houses several items in it. You can see Power BI, Data Factory, data engineering, data science. Okay. Adesa, your hand is up. You want to quickly say something?
Oh, yes. I just quickly want to say something before you continue, Mohammed. Thank you very much for that, for what you've done so far. And once again, welcome everybody. For those who are just joining us, I'm just going to spotlight myself very quickly. So what Mohammed is trying to do is, I know there are a lot of you that have never heard of what Power BI is. You don't know anything analytics, and that's totally fine. That's why you are here. All right. So Microsoft Fabric, like Mohammed mentioned, is that one-stop shop. And let me tell you the reason why it's very important. Now, organizations would start adopting Microsoft Fabric. It's a new platform launched by Microsoft. I think it was launched, this month or late last month or thereabouts. So it's still quite new. And a lot of organizations that have Microsoft applications internally are also adopting Microsoft Fabric platform. If you can see ahead of what I'm trying to say, I'm sure you can guess what I'm about to say next. Now, for companies embracing and adopting Fabric, it means they would also need professionals that have the skill to utilize Microsoft Fabric. So rather than having Excel in one platform, Power BI separately, SQL separately, you have everything. Even your Python, you can write your Python codes, which is what Mohammed would do. So it gives you that edge over anybody else who will be applying to that same job. Because guess what? They have a new system. It's a system that's new. A lot of people don't know what it is, but you already have the skill. So that's why this session is absolutely important. All right. So I'm just going to sit back, just like all of you on the call. I'll listen to Mohammed, enjoy the session, and see what Fabric is all about. To set up your accounts, like Mohammed mentioned, the link is on the slide. Once you get the slide, you click on the link. It's a YouTube video. Watch the video. I created that video, myself and Mohammed. You'll see how to set up your account, and everything we show you today, you can do it on your own. All right. So just sit back, relax, take notes, make a note of all the questions you have so that we can take the questions afterwards. I even have so many other amazing things to show you. Okay. So when we are done with Fabric, some of you would ask the question around, how do I start? I've always wanted to get into data science, data analytics. I heard, there are so many jobs available. How do I start my journey? And that's where I'll come in to show you exactly what you need to do, what you've been doing wrong, what you've been doing wrongly and has been stopping you from getting a job. I'll come share all the tricks and all the strategies you need to put in place to ensure you get jobs. For those of you that want to work remotely, how do you do it? I'll share my story, and I would also, tell you exactly what to do. So sit back, relax, enjoy the session. Over to you, Mohammed.
All right, thank you very much for that, Adeza. That's a fantastic one. So, like Adeza said, okay, you want to be up to date as regards the new technologies in the data space. Okay, so I see somebody saying, how do I create a developer account? Adeza just said, you like, and I also mentioned it earlier. Okay, you have a link in the slide that will be sending across at the end of the session. You'd see a video, you'd be able to develop your or to create and set up your Fabric account, okay, from start to finish. So now when you get to the Fabric space, the landing page, you'd see Power BI, Data Factory, data engineering, data science, data warehouse, and real-time analytics. Now it's still under preview, okay? It's still under preview, and or you can actually buy the license. So we have the license, but for the purpose of the master class, we'll be using the trial version so that what you would see when you're trying to, get your hands on what we'll be doing today, you would not find something strange. Okay, it will be easy for you to follow. Okay, so now I'll be showing you how to leverage this as a data scientist. Okay, like I said, you're a data scientist, you're a detective, you're trying to uncover the reality of a particular crime case. Okay, so I would click on data science, click on data science, click on data science. Okay, so once you click on data science, you would notice that you have a default workspace created for Fabric. If you look at the left here, you look at the left of my screen, you'd see my workspace. Okay, my workspace. That's the default workspace that you get. A workspace is a space where you work. It's that simple. Okay, it's a space where you work. It is as simple as that. Okay, so I can see somebody saying the word fabric, I understand, is clothes. Yes, if you notice, your clothes, your fabric has layers. It has layers, okay? So you join a lot of threads to form a fabric. And that's one of the reasons why, we call, or why Microsoft has called it fabric. Okay, so you have a default workspace. Okay, and if you look at the bottom left of my screen, if I click on that, you see the different fabric items, the same ones we saw, on the landing page, data factory, data engineering. So I'm currently in the data science space. Okay, so now this is the default workspace. You won't find anything in there. Okay, so I've been working with it for the past couple of months. I've been able to, work with Fabric, also collaborate with Adeza and with some of our team members as well. So first thing first, let's create a fresh workspace. Okay, now you'd see workspaces here, workspaces. So I'll click on workspaces. Again, you see the different workspaces I've created in the past, but I want to create a new one. Okay, I want to create a new one. So at the bottom of the screen here, you'd see new workspace. So I'll click on new workspace. Okay, and Fabric is asking me, what's the name you want to give your workspace? So I would call that masterclass fabric. Masterclass fabric, okay? Masterclass fabric. If I want to add a description, I can do that here, but I'll just click on apply. I'll click on apply. Okay. So we're already working with Fabric, guys. Okay, we're working with Fabric. And now you can see this is a new, nice, clean, fresh workspace I have just created. And you can see the name here. Okay. Now I want to work with a data set. I want to work with a data set. I have that data set currently in my downloads on my local drive. Okay, so how do I bring that into the environment? Now, I would upload to bring it in, but I have to upload it into a lake house, into what we call a lake house. Now, if you click on new here on the top left corner, you'd see all the tasks you can perform in this workspace. Okay, and just like I mentioned, you see lake house there. also. You'd see Lakehouse there also. Now, depending on your persona, if you are a data engineer, you're a data analyst, okay, you'd see something different in there. Okay, you'd see the different tasks you can create. Again, here you can even see data pipelines, data flows. Okay, but what I want to do is I want to create a new lakehouse. So in this lakehouse, I'll store my data sets. So if I want to use my data sets in Power BI or to write an SQL query, all in this space, I just need to access the lakehouse and get my data. Okay. Now let's give the lakehouse a name. Let's say uh, you can suggest names. Okay. I'll just say Lucky. So I can see Lucky in the chat. So I'll just write Lucky Lakehouse. I'll just say Lucky Lakehouse. Okay, and hit create. And hit create. Okay, I hit create. And you can see my lakehouse loading. You can see my lakehouse loading. And when you create something in Fabric, you'd see them on the left here. You can see the lakehouse, the Lucky Lakehouse here. Okay, so and that's the environment I'm currently in. And now you can see files, tables, and you can see the popular ways you can get data into your lakehouse. Okay, you have data flow, data pipeline, open notebook, and likes. Okay, so but what I want to do is I want to upload a data set that I already have on my local drive. Okay, so how do I do that? You look at the top left here, you'd see get data. Get data. Now, for those of us who are familiar with Power BI, you'd see get data, in the Power BI environment. So it's a highly intuitive environment. Okay, get data means get data exactly. Click on get data, and what I want to do is upload files. So I'll click on upload files. Okay, and on the right you can see the folder icon there. So I'll click on it, and it's going to pop up my local drive in there. You see my local drive. Okay, so the data set I want to upload is customers data. So I'll click on it, click on open, then you have it here. All I need to do is to upload. Okay, all I need to do is to upload. Click on upload. Now, if I had another copy of customers data already in my environment, okay, I would need to overwrite if files already exist. Okay, but because this is the first copy I'm uploading, this is the only copy I'm uploading. Okay, so what I'll just do is click on upload, and you see it uploading. Okay, so it's done uploading. It's done uploading. You can click in the environment. Once I click on files, I'll see customer data.csv. So it's a CSV file, a comma separated values CSV file. Okay, so without writing any code, we've been able to create a lakehouse and bring in our data into the lakehouse. Okay, so next, because we are data scientists, we'll be working with Python. Okay, we will be working with Python. Again, if you're new to the space, you've never coded with Python before, or you even have some experience using Python, Python basics. Okay, what's just stick around with me. We'll be rubbing minds together, and you see how easy it is to leverage as a data scientist. Whether you've learned Python before or you're new and you're entirely new, you'd see how this works. So now we write Python. You write Python codes as a data scientist. You write Python codes in a notebook, what you call a notebook. Okay, what we call a notebook. So I need a new notebook. So I'll see open notebook up here. I'll click on it, and I want to click on new notebook. New notebook. Okay. So you write codes in a notebook. Now, once you click on new notebook, you'd see Fabric is preparing my notebook for me. Okay. So it's loading my notebook. loading notebook. Okay, so there has been an error. So I'll just, in case if you run into something like this, just refresh. Okay, refresh. All right, refresh. So it's recreating the process. Let's see. Okay, fantastic. Now, this environment is my notebook, and you can see notebook 1 on the top left here, notebook 1. Okay, notebook 1, and you can see it's saved. So whatever you do, you don't need to worry about it being saved. It automatically saves. Now, if you've never coded in Python, again, there's no need to be scared. Okay, I'll explain some little bits. Okay, so what we have here is my cell. These are my cells. Okay, this is a cell. This is a cell. Okay, this is a cell. To create another cell, okay, I can simply click on code or markdown. Those are the two types of cells you can create. A code cell is where you actually write your codes, and a markdown cell is predominantly used to just type in texts, to give headings to the different parts of your notebook. Okay, so if you click on code, for example, you see I have a cell. Okay, so I can also convert this cell to a markdown cell. Again, if I want to write a heading. So I'll convert it to a markdown cell. I'll click on markdown. Okay, I'll click on markdown. Okay, so I'll double click on that, okay. You'd see the cell once again. So I'll give a heading. Once I want to start with the heading, okay, I'll type in hashtag. I want to say, let me say July master class. Or no, let me say fabric master class. Fabric master class. And once you are typing, you see I'm typing in the cell, but I can see a preview of what I'm typing already. Okay, I can see a preview, fabric master class. Okay, fabric master class. So I would hit enter. Okay, I would hit enter. So under it, I want a subheading. So I would use a double hashtag and say load your data. So that's the first thing we're going to be doing. We're going to be loading our data. So if I'm happy with what I've written already, okay, I just simply click on that preview, and then it closes up my cell, rather. It closes up my cell, okay? So now, the next thing I want to do is to bring in my data, to load my data, okay? Load your data. Now, you would agree with me if you've used Python before, okay? If you've used Python before, do you need to write a code to load your data into Notebook? For those of us in-house, okay? Type a yes or no in the chat if you need to use a code to load data into your notebook. If you've ever worked with Python before, do you need a code to load data into your notebook? Yes, absolutely. So for those of us who are new, you actually need to write a code. Now, you have a functionality in Fabric where you don't need to write a code to load your data. Okay, and that's what we'll do now. Now, to do that, I'll click on Files. Remember, that's where I have my data set, okay? That's where I have my data set, okay? Now, you'd see customers data in there, customers data in there. Sorry, is my screen too tiny? Just confirm it's too tiny. Is it better now?
Yeah, it's clear. It's okay.
Okay, all right. So now you see customers data, the data set we brought into our lakehouse. Okay, you see the lakehouse here, Lucky Lakehouse. Okay, now I'll click on the three dots I have beside customer data, and you'd see load data, okay, load data. And I simply click on pandas, So what that does for you, I'll just collapse this pane. I'll collapse this also, and then you can see my screen nice and clean. You can see, clicking on load data, I already have the code I need, the code I would have written to bring in my data. I have it already. And all I simply need to do is to click on run cell, this play button here. When you want to watch a movie, that's the icon you click on to play the video, okay? So click on run cell, okay? Click on run cell, okay? Click on run cell. Okay, once you click on run cell, what happens is the cell is going to run. So I'm experiencing a bit of network glitch. So it's unable to start the session. You can see when I click on run cell, okay, when I click on run cell, I had something pop up on my right here, if you noticed. Okay, so if you're experiencing some network issues, you may see those errors, okay, but it's currently running. Okay, once you see start, it's currently running that cell, okay? It's currently running it. All right, so let's just wait. Let's wait. So in case you're working on your own, sometimes, again, it's a preview. There's a lot of work going on the platform. All right, so I can also see in the chat, yes, it's a web-based platform. You don't need to do any downloads. You just need to set up your developer account, like I mentioned earlier, okay? And now you can see after running that cell, I have my data sets in form of rows and columns. We've not written any code, guys. And I have my data sets already. You can see customer ID, the gender of the customer, the age group, the annual income, okay, and the spending score, okay, and the spending score. So now let's begin to answer our question, okay? Let's begin to answer our question. Again, I'll click on Markdown because I want to indicate that this is question 1, okay? I want to indicate that this is question 1. So, and it's a subheading under master class fabric, okay? If you're wondering what I mean, okay, fabric master class, that's my main heading. So I want to create another subheading that says question 1. So I'll use the double hashtag, give a space, and say question 1. Okay, question 1. Now, question 1 itself says, let's go back to what question 1 says. It says, what is the distribution of customer ages in the data? Again, you are doing a univariate analysis. So we're looking at one entity at a time, one individual at a time. What can we spot? Is there any pattern that we can spot in the behavior of that individual? So I'll say, what is the distribution? What is the distribution of customer ages in the data? Okay, in the data, customer. So that's not the correct spelling of customer. Yeah, customer. Okay, so this looks good. So I'll put a question mark and simply click on the preview. Okay, so I have question 1. Okay, now I would create a code cell. I'll create a code cell. Okay, we are just about to start, writing codes. Okay, now, because I want to do an analysis in Python, there's what we call libraries. Okay, we are going to be doing analysis. We're going to be showing the analysis in form of charts. Okay, so I need to bring in what we call some libraries. Okay, we have a lot of libraries. So I'll be bringing in NumPy and Matplotlib. You may be wondering, if you're new to Python, okay, what are libraries? Now, if you remember Merlin, how many of us watched Merlin? If you remember Merlin, if you watched Merlin very well back then, indicate in the charts. How many of us remember Merlin? The movie, or the series, if I would say? Okay, yes, I did. Prince, fantastic. Now, if you remember very well, when they want to learn a new art, I'll call it an art. Okay, when they want to learn a new art, okay, you see them go to their library, get a book, and then when they open the book, they can be able to learn new magic tricks. Okay, that's exactly how Python is. When you want to perform a craft in Python, you need to import some libraries. Okay, you need to import some libraries so that you can gain access to those crafts. I didn't call it witchcraft. Okay, I did not call it witchcraft. So we're doing Python here, not magic. Are we together, guys? Are we together? So, okay, fantastic. So now I'll be importing, say imports matplotlib.
It's D. Oh, okay. I go close the window.
Sorry, somebody is unmuted. Please mute. What matplotlib. Okay, sorry, I was muted once for the. Can we hear me now? Can we all hear me now? Okay, sorry, I don't see. Okay, fantastic. Thank you for that, guys. Thank you. All right, so import matplotlib. So this is one of the books I'm bringing in because I want to open it and use some crafts in it. Import matplotlib.pyplot as plt. Okay, I hit enter, and then I also import numpy as np. NumPy as np. Okay, import NumPy as np. Now this particular one, I'll just put a hashtag here. Now this hashtag, anything after the hashtag, Python is not going to run it. Okay, so I just want to use it to explain what I'm trying to do. So this is my visualization. So all my visualization crafts are from this library called matplotlib. Okay, visualization crafts. And then I have this one, the NumPy for data analysis, or let me just say analysis, okay, analysis. And all I need to do is to run this cell, okay? I run that cell, and you can see it's already nice and clean, okay? Nice and clean. Now, what I need to do next is I need to start answering the questions, but I want to see my column headers because I'll be calling out columns. Remember, you know how you call people out on Twitter and Facebook, how you call people out. I'll be calling those individuals out of the case. Okay, I'm the detective. I'll be calling them out. I'll be dragging them as well. Okay, the way you drag people in on Twitter. So because of that, I want to see the names of the individuals. So I'll say df dot columns, df dot columns. Okay, df dot columns. Okay, shift enter to run that. Okay, shift enter to run that, and you'd see their names: customer ID, gender, age group, annual income, and spending score. Okay, that's good. Now we said we want to look at ages. Okay, we want to look at ages. Okay, so I'll say ages is equal to df. Okay, so you may be wondering what df means. Df is the short form of data frame. So whenever you load a data set into Fabric, it automatically gives the name df to that data set. So you want to call out anything from the data set, you simply say df. Okay, so and the column I want, I'll put it in square brackets, is my age column. So I'll copy it. Copy age, or I'll just simply type age. Let me type age. I'll type age the same way it is. I have to type it the same way it is in as my column header in there. Okay. So I have called out age. I have called out age, the age column as ages. So now I want to show a histogram. Okay. So a histogram is one of the visualizations, one of the charts you would work with as a data scientist. Okay. It helps you see where your data set is clustered to the most. Okay, so we want to know what age group Okay, what age group do we have most of our customers in? So I'll be using a histogram for that. So I'll say PLT, which is the crafts I imported from my library, plt.hist, hist for histogram, okay? I open up a bracket, and you can see in here, because I said hist, you can see Python is already telling you for hist you need an argument called x, you need bins, you need range, okay, and everything there, but I won't be using everything, okay? I'll just use a few of them. Okay, so first of all, I want to use my ages. Remember, I've called out ages and I've said it is ages, okay? And you can see Python recognizes it, comma, okay? So I need to tell Python the number of categories I want to show on my histogram. Remember, I want to see the age category, okay? The age category where my customers fall in, fall in the most, okay? So how many categories do I want? We don't call it categories in Python. You call it bins, not the plant, not beans, the plant, bin, B-I-N-S, okay? So, and I would say bins equals to 5. So I want 5. You can declare it to be as many as you want. And then I want the edge color. I want the edge color of my chart to be black, okay, to be black. K is for black, B is for blue, R is for red. Which one do you want me to use, guys? Just quickly, which one do you want me to use? Should I use red for my edge color or black? Okay, I'll use red. Somebody said red. So I'll say R, okay, R for red. Now, okay, I go to the next line. I want my charts to have labels both at the bottom, which is my x-axis, and at the left side, which is my y-axis, okay? So a lot of you said red. We have red gang in the house, okay? PLT, so I'll say plt.x label. So that's for the lower parts. Of my charts, okay? And I want age, okay? So I'll hit enter, I'll go to the next line. I'll say plt.y label. That's for the left-hand side. I want it to be called counts. Let's call it counts. Okay, let's call it count. All right, let's call it count. Okay, so I also want my chart to have a title, plt.title, plt.title. Okay, and I want it to be titled as distribution of customer age or ages, distribution of customer ages. So I'll just cancel that. Okay, distribution of customer ages. And finally, I want to show it. I want to see it. So I'll use plt.show. plt.show. Okay, so once I've done this, all I need to do is to run that cell. Okay, I run the cell, and you can see you have a nice and clean histogram. You have a nice and clean histogram that says distribution of customer ages. You can see the age down here and the count. Simple and short. So I simply called out that individual, and I can see everything about that individual now, which is, and when I say individual, I mean age. Okay, so you are the detective, remember. You are the detective. Now, as a detective, let's observe. What do you notice on this chart? You notice that most of the customer, based on the length of the bars, you see that most of the customers are located between the age 20 and late 40s. Okay, between the age 20 and the late 40s. Okay, late 40s. Okay, now let's write that down. And remember, when you want to write something that you want to take notes, you use a markdown cell. That's what we use to create our heading, if you remember. So now I'll click on markdown to create a markdown cell form. Okay, so the first thing I notice is I'll put a dash Now, anytime I put a dash, I have all my notes in bullet points. Okay, all my notes in bullet points. So I put a dash and you see the preview as you're typing. So I would say most of, sorry about that. So I would say most of the customers, okay, I'm simply writing what I said earlier. Most of the customers are between the age 20 and late 40s. Okay, late 40s, and you can see it there as a bullet point. Okay, so another thing I notice is this. If you look at the chart, guys, you would help me out with this one. Okay, let's assume I'm standing. Let's assume these are steps. These are steps. Okay, and I'm standing here on top of the highest one. Okay, and I want to get down. I want to get down to this place, to the bottom here. Will it be easier for me to come down towards the left of the chart or to go down towards the right-hand side of the chart? Which part of the chart will be easier for me to go down the step? Okay, right. Bro Kenneth says right. Michael says right. Everyone says right. Fantastic. Somebody said left. Okay. The question again is, if I'm standing on the highest step here, will it be easier for me to go here and jump down, or to go down here, or go down here? Okay, so if it's easier for me to go down through the right, you have determined that it's easier for me to go down through the right. I would say the customer ages are skewed. So somebody's writing on my screen, are skewed to the right. Simple. So there's something we call skewness in Python, and is your chart, depending on the shape of your chart, is either skewed to the right or the left. So to determine it easily, just look, where can you easily come down the step? If it is right, your data set is skewed to the right. So I'll click on the preview again. Then I have my notes just below my chart. So let's answer one more question, okay? One more question. Okay, again, I'll just create a markdown cell, and I'll write question 2. Okay, and question 2 says, what is the distribution of spending score among the customers? What is the distribution of spending score among the customers? Question mark. Okay, again, I click on the preview. Okay, I click on it and I create a cell. I create a code cell. Okay, I create a cell. Okay, I create a code cell. Sorry about that. I create a code cell. Now in this code cell, because I want to call out spending score. Spending score is the second individual. I want to call spending score out instead of retyping codes. I don't need to rebuild codes. I simply come here, copy this, okay, copy that, and paste. Now I just need to change the name of the individual. So the individual we looked at initially was age. That's the first culprit in the crime case. Okay, so who do I want to look at? I want to look at spending score. Now I don't know exactly how spending score is written. I want to get the exact name because I need to use that exact name to call him or her out. So I'll just create another code cell on top and say df dot columns again, df dot columns. So, and I run that cell. Okay, so I run the cell and I can see, okay, it's spending underscore score. Okay, so all I need to do is I'll delete age. Okay, then I open my codes and I type it the exact way I can see it there, spending score. Okay, I also have to change the name. So I don't want to call out spending score as ages. I want to call it out as spending score. Okay, I'll delete ages and say spending score. Okay, so spending score equals DF spending score, exactly. And then I change ages again to what? Spending score, this spending score this is the new name of this person. So as far as this case is concerned, we'll call this person this name. Okay, moving forward. So change ages to spending score. And you can see, because I already have spending score, you can see it's being suggested. So I can click on it. So let's leave it at 5 beans. Let's leave it at red also. Okay, but for the X label, I'll call it spending score. Okay, I'll leave Y label as count. And I want to see my title as what? Distribution or spending score. Now I want you to type in the chat. Do you think Python is easy to learn? You're already doing this is a univariate analysis. If you've not learned Python, okay, if you've not learned Python before, do you think it's something that is easy to learn? From what we've done so far, fantastic. It makes sense, okay? It makes sense. Okay, it's very easy to learn. It's not difficult at all. So to create a code again, a code cell, simply click on code where you'd hover your mouse. If you hover your mouse under any previously run cell, you'd see code cell. Code cell. You can create a markdown cell, you can create a code cell. Okay, so we have it nice and clean, and all I need to do is run this cell. Okay, run this cell. Run this cell. Okay, somebody says Python needs practice. Everything needs practice. If you are learning how to drive for the first time and you leave it after the first week, trust me, it's going to go. Okay, so you need practice for every single thing you'll be learning. Okay, so, and you can see now, guys, I want to ask a question. Okay, I want to ask a question. Okay, so my first question is this, or let me say this. I know you may already guess the question I want to ask. Okay, now before I ask the question, you notice that my customers between the spending score that has the spending score 40, between 40 and 60. Customers with spending score of between 40 and 60 occur the most in my data set. So let me take note of that. I need a markdown cell, the dash, and I'll say customers with spending score between 40 and 60 occur the most the data. Okay. Now I would ask you my question. Is it easier for me to come down towards the right or the left, or are they the same? Is it easier for me to come down towards the right or the left, or do you think, okay, well, if I come down through here, through the right or the left, it's going to be the same? Okay, somebody says to the right, to the left, to the right, to the left. Okay, a lot of you say right, and very good. For those of us who said right, we are fairly correct. Okay, and those who said left, we are also fairly correct. And I like the fact that you understand the concept. That's the first question. Now, if you are confused, you don't know whether it's right or left. You don't know whether it's right or left. Simply come back to your code and reduce the number of bins. So I'll reduce it from 5 to 4 and run that cell again. Okay, so after running the cell, you see that, yes, one may argue that it's easier to come down to the left, okay, compared to the right. Okay, but because they are not far apart, they are almost the same. Okay, they are almost the same. It's not very obvious. I would say this is a normal distribution. It's a normal distribution. Okay, so it's not skewed to either the left or right. So it's normal. Okay, it is normal. So I'll add that to this. I'll double click the preview. I would say, let me correct this to width, and then I'll hit enter and say cost spending score. I'll just say spending score is normally is the word, normally distributed. Okay, normally distributed. Now, guys, you can see how I've been able to answer these questions. Okay, I would have loved to, show you the remaining questions, just so that I mention some other concepts in Python. Okay, but we'll stop here as far as data science is concerned for this session. Okay, and then I'll be handing over to Adeza to show us what it's like to work with Fabric as a data analyst. So if you enjoyed Python, okay, if you enjoyed Python, type yes in the chat while Adeza come up to show us what it's like to work with it as a data analyst. Fantastic. Okay. Fantastic. All right. Well done, guys. I'll share my screen now. Okay, over to you, Adeza.
Thank you very much for that, Mohammed, for showing us how amazing Fabric is. Now, one thing I just want to quickly mention before I show you another aspect of Fabric is this class is not to teach you Python, okay? The class today is not to teach you how to use Python, all right? The class today is to show you the amazing functionalities of Fabric. Now, ordinarily, if you want to run your Python codes, you'd need to download an application on your computer, all right? Or you'd need to use Google Colab and so many other different IDEs. But with the introduction of Fabric, you can do everything on the same platform. So the same platform Mohammed has just used to write his Python codes, I can write my SQL codes, my SQL codes. I can also create my visualizations using Power BI. So when Mohammed started, he told us that Microsoft Fabric is an all-in-one suite that has different functionalities as regards to analytics. So I'll just use the next 5 minutes to also show you the collaboration capabilities of Fabric. So as Mohammed is working with that data set somewhere in Nigeria, I'm in the UK also working on the same data set because we are in the same organization. Do you see how beautiful that is and why organizations would start to adopt Microsoft Fabric in the next few months? Some organizations that I know have already started using Fabric. So Mohammed using that data set all across, Nigeria, I can also use the same data set all the way in the UK. And I'll just show you, all right? So this is my own Fabric screen. And what I need to do is get to that same data set Mohammed just used, the customer data set. And I'll just do something within the next 2 minutes and would move into the other critical aspect. I've seen so many people asking questions around, oh, how do I learn? How do I learn Python? Oh, Python is not Pythoning. This is not a Python class. Okay, so show you the functionalities of Fabric. Mohammed has used Fabric. He's written Python codes in Nigeria. Now I'm going to use that same data set in the Lakehouse to write SQL queries and to also create a dashboard. Okay, but I'm not going to do that because of time, but I'm going to show you the capabilities of Fabric in that regards. So all I'll simply do, if I go to my workspace, I click on workspaces, I'll see the workspaces that I have. So as Mohammed adds me to a workspace, I'd have access to all the data, all the lake houses, everything he's done, I would have the same in that workspace. So Mohammed added me to this workspace called First Workspace. I would simply just, let me zoom in a bit so you can see my screen a bit more clearly. So I'll just click on First Workspace. Now, when I click on First Workspace, that's the workspace Mohammed added me to. And what I want to show you now is, how do I get to that same data set he used? How can I run my queries? How can I create my visualizations? Very simple. So I'll look for the Lakehouse that Mohammed used. So I'll just scroll all the way down and the data is in Lake 1, the Lake 1 Lakehouse. You can see the name Mohammed. He created that and added me to that Lakehouse. So all I need to do is to click on that Lake 1 where that Mohammed has created and added me to. So I'll click on Lake 1. Something is going on in the chat. I'm just going to check. Oh, good question. Is it free? Okay, I'll answer that question shortly. I'll answer the question shortly if it's free or not. It's for enterprise. That's what you also need to know. So you can use it for free when you create your developer account. Like I said, the link is on the slide. All you need to do is click the link. You'd watch the video on YouTube that myself and Mohammed created, and you can create your own account. And you have it for free for 2 months. Okay, so within 2 months, all the things you need to do, you can do it on the Microsoft Fabric. But it's for enterprise. What does it mean? It means that organizations would want to have all those different applications in a single environment, so that if I work for the same company, Mohammed works for the same company, we can collaborate. We can work on the same data set across different regions. All right. So I'll simply click on Lake 1, which is where the lake house is. Mohammed has added me to that lake house. I'll click on it, and then it takes me into that lake house. When I get into the lake house, I have tables and I have files. All right. Now, the file Mohammed added is the customer data, the customer data.csv. That's the same file. Okay. So all Mohammed needed to do was to create the lake house, added me as an organizer in that same lake house, and I have access to the data. If I click on the data, it would show me as a preview. Because it's a CSV file, it appears as a CSV file. You can all see that on my screen. But I don't just want to see the preview. What do I want to do? I want to write queries. Okay. And again, for those of you that have never written queries, I'll explain what a query is. Every organization would have their data stored in a structured environment, in a system. Okay, let me put it this way. Banks, for example, generate different data from different locations, from different customers. So when I make a transaction on my mobile app, I create some data from that mobile app. When a customer goes into the bank to deposit money, data is also created. The transaction, how much was deposited, where was it deposited to, and so on and so forth. All the different ATMs across different locations in the country also, records transactions every minute, every second, and all that data is stored somewhere. So as the data analyst or the data scientist, how do you access the data? Do you know where the data is stored? When all the data is generated from all those different sources and the data analyst needs to analyze the data, where do you think the data analyst can get the data from? Can anybody just type in the chat? Just think, all the data generated by a business, where does the data go to? Where is it stored for the data analyst to access? It's stored in the cloud. Thank you, John Law. It's stored in a database, Ololade database. Fantastic. Naftali is stored in a database. Absolutely. It is stored in a database. The database could be in the cloud or on premise. Okay, it could be in the cloud, it could be in the premises. So it really doesn't matter where the database is. Now, to access the database, you need to write some queries, data warehouse as well. Okay, so to access the data in that database, you need to write some queries. SQL, structured query language. So just like Mohammed has written some codes called Python codes, I also need to write another language to get data from the data warehouse or from the database, as the case might be. Now, SQL is a skill that anybody in data must know. So if you're a data analyst or a data scientist, as long as you work with data, you must understand SQL. And it's one of the easiest languages you would ever have to learn. One of the easiest languages you'd ever have to learn. And you see how easy it can be, because we're going to run maybe 1 or 2 queries today. I'll run one, and you see how easy it can be to write queries. So now that I've clicked on file, we can see the preview, but this is not what I want to see. I want to write queries, okay? So I'll go to the top right corner of my fabric. You can see it has Lakehouse, okay? I'm just going to click on that drop down. So I have Lakehouse and I have SQL endpoints. Query data using SQL. So for those of you that don't know what SQL is structured query language. I'm going to type that into the chat. Structured query language. So that's a language any data person must understand, just like the way you speak English. And it's a standard language. If I'm in the US, I write the same SQL. If I'm in Nigeria, I write the same SQL. Ghana, Kenya, anywhere you are, just like you speak English, that's the same way you speak SQL. You write the queries as well, okay? So I'll go back to my Fabric and I'll click on what? SQL endpoints. I'll click on that. And the moment I click on that, it opens up an environment for me to write my queries. So I'm just going to wait for it to load. And once it's done loading, I'll just write one query. I'll show you how you can visualize that query, which takes us to Power BI. So this is saying unable to preview. I'll just click on close. I don't need to preview. I'm just going to click on close. And then at the top left, you see where I have new SQL query, new SQL query. I'll click on that. And once I click on it, I can write my queries in here. And let me show you how easy SQL is. Now I have my data, which Mohammed uploaded, called customer data, okay? I want to get that data by writing a code or by writing a language. To get all the records, everything that exists in that data that Mohammed loaded, I need to write the first SQL keyword, which is called select. So I'm going to write select. I can select something. I can indicate what I want to select. Do I want to select the age? Do I want to select the spending score? Do I want to select something else? But what do I want to select? I want to select all. Give me all the columns that exist in that data. So to select all is an asterisk. Okay, so instead of saying select age, if you notice, Mohammed specified the colon he wanted. He specified age. He specified spending score. I don't want to specify any colon. I just want to bring in all the data, and all means asterisk. So if you've never written SQL today, you are learning how SQL can look like, the syntax. So select all means give me all, give me everything. That's what select asterisks mean. And when I hit enter and I type in from, so you're saying give me everything, but from where? I type in from. Okay, so select asterisk, which means select all from where? From Fabric underscore customer data. Remember, that's my that's where I have my data. Okay, so I'm just going to refresh. I might lose. So again, because the platform is new, a lot of people are using it, like Mohammed mentioned. You could have these glitches here and there. Okay, unable to save queries. I'm just going to refresh. All right, so sometimes as well, network glitches, but it's definitely not the network causing this. It's just the system itself. But again, I'm just going to refresh and we'll start again, and I'm sure everything will be fine. Okay, so like I said, select asterisk means give me all. And I need to specify from where. Where do I want to get all from? I want to get all from Fabric underscore customer data. Okay, just give me 1 second. Okay, so this is the table that I have. You can see Fabric underscore customers underscore data. So I'm just going to enter that there. So what I'm simply saying is, give me all the columns from this data set. Simple. That's the language. Give me all from this data set. So if the name of my data is, let's assume the name of my data is Nigeria. I would say select all from Nigeria. If my data set is population, I would say select all from what? Population. So now let's run. I need to run this query to see if it runs. So I click on run. Again, it could have these issues. I'm just going to try it again. Let's see. I'm still getting these errors. I don't know why this is coming up. Let me try again. Still coming up. Okay, let me copy this and refresh. So like I said, from time to time, you could have this issue coming up and it's just a glitch. Like I mentioned, it's a new system. If you have network issues, if you have so many people on the platform, it could give you these glitches from time to time. Okay, but I'll just try it again and see. Hopefully it runs this time. Still having issues. Still having issues. Let's see. I don't know why this is coming up. All right, so I know what I'm going to try to do now. Just give me 1 second. I'll go back to my home. Let's go back to the lake 1 and try it all over again. Sorry, let's try it all over again. Okay. So this could happen. All right. It comes up with these glitches, which is not an issue. But I'd loved to show you how you can write your queries. For those of you that know how to write SQL, how you can write your queries and how you can also leverage that. So loading preview. So the preview not loading itself shows that there is something not working properly with the system. You should see the preview, and from there you go access your SQL endpoint. You write your SQL. Okay, so let's just wait and see if this loads. Aha, so the preview is up now. So it's likely going to go because you can see the preview. This is what the data looks like. The customer ID, the gender, the age group, the annual income, the spending score. But again, I want to write the queries to bring this up. So I'll go to the top right. I'll click on my SQL endpoint. Okay, and let's write the query again. Select asterisk, which means select all from, and then I select the data that I want to, or the table or the data set as you will. So let's wait for it to load the SQL endpoint. It's a bit slow today. I don't know why it's slow. Is SQL case sensitive? No, it is not. It is not case sensitive. So there's something happening, and it's unfortunate. I'd have loved to show you, like I said. Let's see. But if it doesn't come up, it's fine. I'll just show you how you can move from here to Power BI. Okay, once you write your queries, how you can also move from here and move to Power BI. All right, I doubt it is my network, but let me check my network to be sure. But I doubt it is. Yes, it can't be my network. The network is fast enough, so it's not the network. Yeah, the system is, there's something with the system, okay? Now, we'll try it again and see. But now, once you write your queries, so the fact that it's not bringing up this, if I run the query, I'm likely not going to get the results. It's also going to give me that. Yes, so it's still going to give me that error, okay? But what I want you to do, we'll come back here and try it again before the session ends. So when you are done writing your query, if you've written the query here and you execute, you can visualize. If you've written your query and you execute, then you can also visualize. Now, how do you visualize? All you need to do is select, but I can't show you exactly how it would because this is not, coming up in it, in itself. So if this executed, all you need to do is you see where you have visualize your data. You select your query, click on visualize your data, and then it takes you into Power BI. All right. So Victor, who is a data analyst with Analytics, has built a dashboard from the same data Mohammed used. And I'll show you that dashboard. And this is what the dashboard is, the customer dashboard, similar to what the same data Mohammed, queried. The same data Mohammed ran his Python codes. That same data was used to build this Power BI dashboard. I'd have loved to show you how you can start from where Mohammed started, shared it with me, collaborated. I'll write my queries. And from the queries I write, I can come back into Power BI to create something like this. So how many male, how many female, how many people are in that customer data? What's the total income? You can see the age group. You can see the spending score, the income score for all the customers, and so on and so forth. Before the session ends, remind me, I'll come back here and we'll see if it comes up eventually. If it doesn't, then I guess there's just something not happening properly, but I'll show you before we end our session today. Now, you've seen that you as a data analyst working with an organization can work with somebody in Nigeria, can work with somebody in Ghana, in Canada, under the same lake house, under the same workspace. So there's collaboration. So when organizations start to adopt the use of Microsoft Fabric, you would already have the skills. And with that, you can sell yourself. Getting a job, like I always tell people, is not about the skill. It's not because you can write Python codes. It's not because you can write SQL. It's simply because you can sell yourself. Okay, so how do you even start? Before you can sell yourself, you need to have the skill. So how do you become a data analyst? How do you become a data scientist? And that's what I'll be showing you. And by the time I'm done, hopefully we can come back here and see again. Any need of semicolon? Yes, you can write the semicolon, but since I have just 2 lines of queries, I really don't need to put the semicolon. Okay, is it possible to use macros in the notebook? I haven't tried that on Nula. I don't know if that's, I haven't tried it yet. Okay, so let's go back to the slide and let's start to wrap up our session. Okay, so some of you would ask the question, what Mohammed did, some of you said it is Idon, it is magic. Mohammed, I don't know how you did it. Okay, so how did you write something and from there you were able to bring up, you know, visualizations that showed that your customers, the age groups fall within 20 to 40 something. Okay, the majority of your customers. How did you learn that? How were you able to come up with that? All you need to do is, first of all, have a clear direction of what you want to learn. Okay, so as a data analyst or as a data scientist, what do you need to learn to get into that space? And that's what I'll be talking about. All right. So just give me 1 second. I'm going to close this, and I think I'll close it and come back, and hopefully everything works on fine. But how do you get into data analytics? Okay. As a data analyst, your role, your fundamental objective is to help a business answer key questions so they can take data-driven decisions. So as a business, every business wants to increase revenue, reduce expenses, so they can stay profitable. So what are the areas they need to focus on? So let's assume Tenalytics have been in operation for the last 3 years. What type of customers have we been getting into our classes? That's a question I want to be answered. How do I answer that question? A data analyst will take the data generated by Tenalytics over the last 3 years. Because when you're registering, you indicate, my name is this, I'm from this country, you know, I work in this industry, and so on and so forth. So from there, we start to understand the type of people that register or join a Tenalytics program. Now, how does that favor or help a business? You then know the type of services and who you should target as a business. That's the role of a data analyst. The data analyst helps the business answer those type of questions. All right. So the business can remain profitable, reduce expenses, increase revenue. And what are the skills you need to learn to be a data analyst? People have asked that question severally. Somebody actually sent me a direct message saying that, am I going to have to learn Python as a data analyst? Because I don't know if I'm ready to code. People, some people would say, I don't think I want to code at this stage in my career. I'm 40 and I'm not sure I can withstand all the rigor of learning a new language, learning coding at this point in my career, even though it's very, very simple. When you're in a Python class and you start from the nitty-gritty, your first code you'd ever write is hello world. Okay, so you write something very simple and you start and you build up from there. As a data analyst, the skills you need to learn. And a lot of people learn forever and never get started. You have a bunch of courses you've subscribed to from different platforms, but you never finish them. The simple reason is because you really don't have a structured learning approach. What do I need to learn? What do I need to leave? So as a data analyst, the very first thing you need to learn is problem solving. Okay, so how do I solve problems? How do I identify that this is a problem? How do I know the type of technique or the type of framework to deploy to solve that problem? How do I get to the root cause of the problem? So these are key questions that you need to know, you need to be able to answer to get into data analytics. Because as a data analyst, your role is not to build fancy charts, fancy dashboards. No, it is to solve problems and answer questions. So that's the very first, key. You'd see so many data analytics courses out there, but they don't have problem solving. At Analytics, that's the very first thing you learn because that's your fundamental objective. Once you are done with problem solving, you then move into Microsoft Excel for analytics. All right, Microsoft Excel for analytics. Now, Excel is that versatile, is one of the most versatile data analytic tool you would ever learn. You use Excel to carry out your analysis, you'd bring in data, you'd summarize the data using tools like your pivot tables, your pivot charts, and so on and so forth. You'd write functions to blend your data together, to separate data into different columns and all of that. You are using Excel as an entry point into the data analytics space. And I'll be sharing some projects with you where you would see clearly, for some people that have gone through our program, working with the NHS today, the NHS in the UK, some working with TELUS in Canada, all they needed to use or provide during their assessment was Excel. And I always tell people, we had a live session yesterday on Instagram where we had professionals from Canada, from the UK, from Nigeria, and they were talking about their experience as analysts. I'll tell you for a fact, in my organization, when I used to work, 9 to 5 as a data analyst years ago, over the past 10 years that I've been in analytics, I have never for once I've never been required to use Python in that organization as a data analyst. Okay, so people ask the question and they want to learn everything because they feel that except you know everything, you cannot get a job. But the tools you need to do your day-to-day activities, the nitty-gritty that gets you recognized in the company, are tools like Excel, tools like Power BI. All right. So as a data analyst, that first analytic tool you must learn is Microsoft Excel. And then you move into SQL. Okay. And I'd love to show you SQL. We'll go back to that if we still have time before the end of today's session. SQL is structured query language. It's a language that anybody in data must know. As a data analyst, as a data scientist, as a data engineer, you must learn SQL, structured query language, because that's the only way you interact with databases. You create tables, you update your tables, you delete from the tables, and so on and so forth. Once you understand how to interact with databases, you then move into Microsoft Power BI. So you saw the visualization I showed you, where I mentioned that from SQL, you move to you visualize your queries, you'd see it in the form of a dashboard, and you can see charts that clearly shows what the data is all about. Okay, so what are the insights you can get from that data? How do you automate the process of extracting your data, transforming the data, loading the data, and coming up with those type of insights that you present to the business for them to take decisions? From what Mohammed showed us, anybody asking the question that who are our customers? What's the age group with the highest frequency? With that type of visual, you can tell very quickly that between the early 20s and the late 40s, those are the main customers we have in the business. So we're creating products. We know the type of products we need to create to meet the needs and the demography of our customers. Power BI is an amazing visualization tool. I'll show you projects built using Power BI and you get to see that. Now, once you know Power BI, you then move into Tableau for analytics. Now, Tableau, Power BI, they are business intelligence tools, and they can pretty much do the same thing with regards to data visualization, all right? However, you'd find some organizations that have a preference for Tableau. Some would have a preference for Power BI. So you want to place yourself and position yourself in a way that, irrespective of the job requirements, if it is Power BI or Tableau, you are right in the mix of applying to that job and getting the job because you have the two skills. Once you know how to use Tableau for visualization, then strategic positioning. Thank you very much, Michael. Strategic positioning, because you don't want to see a job requirement or a job vacancy and you find out that, oh, they want somebody with Power BI skill, but I don't know Power BI, I know Tableau. You see another one, they want Tableau, but you know Power BI, you don't know Tableau. So you want to strategically position yourself for success. Once you know Power BI, you then move into the new trends, because you always have to follow the trend. Where is the world going? In the next 2, 3, 4 years, 5 years, where will the world be with regards to analytics? Microsoft Fabric and ChatGPT for analytics. We had a session yesterday where I showed a bit on how to use ChatGPT, and we have another masterclass, I think next weekend, where we'll also be showing you how to build a dashboard using ChatGPT as a data analyst and as a data scientist. So the world is going into the era of software as a service. Software as a service, and Fabric is a typical example of software as a service. You don't need to download anything. Everything is on the cloud. You subscribe, you have access. Your organization would have access and you would also have access. You can go, you have login credentials from the business. You can go on Fabric, do all the things you want to do. Somebody across another region entirely can also do the same. Okay, so from 1 to 6, these are the skills you need to get any job anywhere in the world as a data analyst. And I'll show you how to apply to jobs. We're going to go together to a website. We'll look at the jobs as data analysts, as data scientists. We'll look at the job requirements. And with these skills, you then ask yourself, I can actually get jobs in the UK. I can get jobs in the US, in Canada, across Europe. Mohammed talked about somebody who got a job this previous week in Spain, one of the not even one of the largest privately owned pharmaceutical company in Spain, a Analytics alumnus. So how do you start with all of this? You start from number 1 and you move all the way to number 6. And the key to learning is what? Projects. The key to learning is what? Projects. All right. So you're not going to learn by just watching or by just watching videos, which most of you do. Go on YouTube, watch and watch and watch, and then analytics is very hard. I've been doing this for the last 6 months. I've not been able to get a job. Okay. Without you positioning yourself and also working on projects to build a portfolio, you'd likely be in the state of job searching for a very, very long time. So you're going to build projects like this. This is a dashboard on Power BI created by Kehinde. So Kehinde, the link is also on the slide. You can go on the slide and see what Kehinde was able to create. Now, looking at this dashboard, I'm going to ask you 2 questions and I want to get your feedback. I'll give you the case around this dashboard built by Kehinde as one of the projects you would work on during our program, okay? Now, this particular dashboard, the data was gotten from customers of a travel company. So that travel company creates travel packages for their customers, All right. So where would you like to travel to? What type of activities would you like to be involved in, and so on and so forth. But the company really couldn't make profits because they just guess what the customers want and they assume where the customers would love to go. So the case study involved you as an analyst solving that problem by creating a form, a survey instrument, and sending it to customers. The customers would then, you'd ask the customers question, where is your preferred travel destination for 2023? What type of activities would you like to be engaged in 2023? When during the year would you love to travel? So that's my first question to you. So once you gather that data from the customers, you then visualize to show the business and the management that this is what the customers have said. And if we are designing any travel package, we must design it in line with our customers' needs. So now asking you the question, let's look at the first chart. Chart number 1. Let me write number 1 there. Look at it closely. You have the month from January to December, 1 to 12. When during the year will the customers love to travel? Just type it into the chart. What period during the year will the customers love to travel? December, absolutely. Thank you, Akerele. Thank you, Summer. Okay, that's okay. Somebody said summer. Absolutely. We're not really summer anyways. December. We're talking about the chart, what the chart says. Thank you, Lucky. Lucky says December. July and December. Fantastic, Daula. Thank you very much. Now, looking at the chart, it's clear that your customers don't want to travel anytime during the year. They want to travel mostly in December. Let me just put that there. Mostly in December. You can see the spike, and also in August. Sorry, I beg your pardon, in July. You can see July as well. So does it make sense to create travel packages in March or in January for your customers? It makes no sense. Or in November, it makes no sense because the majority of your customers have already told you that I would love to travel in December and in July. But how do you know? You need to get the data from them and you need to analyze the data and visualize. So the company can then take data-driven decisions, not decisions based on, I think, or based on my own personal opinion. This is decision based on what the data says, data-driven decisions. All right. And this is the job of a data analyst. Now, my last question to you before I leave this slide is, let's look at chart number 2. Okay. You have 5 different cities the customers have indicated. Sorry, Terry, you're writing on my screen. Please don't do that. That's a bit distracting. Okay. So now let's look at, we have 5 different cities the customers have indicated they would like to travel to. Which of the cities do you think we need to develop a travel package to the destination? Which of the cities we have Paris, we have Maldives, Seychelles, Monaco, and Berlin. Paris, absolutely. Paris, thank you very much, Akin, Femi, Edna, Lucky, Daula, absolutely. So, and this is the beauty of analytics, and this was created using Power BI. So in your business, in your company, you'll be one of the most respected individuals. When I used to work with one of the largest energy conglomerates in sub-Saharan Africa, the team, my team, myself and 5 other very brilliant individuals, we had direct access to the owners of the companies. These are billionaires, direct access. Even the MDs of some of those companies had no access to the directors, the owners of the companies, but we had access. The question is why? And that's simply because every business owner wants to know what is happening in the business beyond anybody's personal, opinion or conviction, or this is what I think based on my experience. I'm older than you. So you become very respected because you can get the data, you can analyze the data and tell a story. There's a famous saying that in God we trust, all others must bring data. So apart from God that we trust, we don't trust anybody else. Bring the data, let me see. In God we trust, all others bring data. So with this type of data gotten from the customer, would anybody argue where the customers would love to go to, when the customers would love to go? And you also have the customers, distribution, 47% female, 53% male, and total number of customers that responded to your form, 373. So you can start to make data-driven decisions, and that's the power of analytics. All right. So you also have this dashboard created by Kauthar, which is a sales analysis of a business, and of course, so many insights. So as a data analyst, this is what you'll be doing. You'll be doing a lot of this, helping the business answer questions. And as a data scientist, now you are taking the step a little bit further to say that, yes, this is what the company wants. This is what the company wants to do. But let's look into the future and plan for the next year based on what we have now. So for the last 5 years, this is the pattern I have seen from the data. And based on this pattern and based on the trends over the last 5 years, this is what will happen next year. So as a data scientist, you are moving a step further by predicting what will happen in the future based on what has happened in the past. All right. And the power to predict. In the past, you go to a babalawo, for those who are Nigerians. And if you're not a Nigerian, you go to those, what do they call them now? Remind me in the charts, please. Those guys that have the crystal ball, they look into the crystal ball and they can see into the future. Those do they call them psychics? Seers. Thank you, John Law. Seers. You go to those seers to ask questions around what will happen in the future. Tell me, look into your crystal ball. Tell me what would happen in the future. That is the role of a data scientist today. Soothsayers, thank you, Akorode. That's the role of the data scientist, to see into the future based on what has happened in the past. So you take historical data, and from that historical data, you can then analyze, you see the trends and patterns, and with some little bit of algorithm and forecasting techniques, you can see what would happen in the future. The ability to do that involves some level of statistics. You can't run away from it. And also Python. So this is where Python comes in. This is where statistics comes in. So any machine learning model, machine learning simply means a machine that can learn. So you're building an algorithm that can take data, learn from the data, and tell you that, look, based on the data you've given me to train, I've trained with this data, I have learned something, and this is what will happen in the future. Okay, so you create those algorithms that would help you predict what would happen in the future. That's what machine learning is all about. And it is all hinged on what? Statistics. And that is what you do as a data scientist. So as a data scientist, you are also in high demand. Every company today wants a data scientist. Every company wants a data analyst, a data team. Specifically. So you have the data analyst, you have the data scientist, you have the data engineer, the BI analyst, and so on and so forth. Okay. So as a data scientist, how do you even start? Number one is statistics. You can't run away from it. And it's a major difference between the analyst and the scientist. So the scientist, like you are looking into the future. So most of the things you'll be doing would be hinged around statistics. Mohammed showed us the histogram, skewness. This is skewed to the left, skewed to the right, normally distributed. You'd understand the measure of central tendency, the mean, the median, and the mode. So all those things you learned in high school that made no sense, they would start to make a lot of sense to you, because you'll be applying the statistics in solving real life problems. You would understand why the mean, something as simple as the mean, median, and mode, why it is important to solving problems with your data, to filling missing records, and so on and so forth. So once you've understood statistics, you then move into Excel. But Excel this time around for forecasting and predictive analytics. Okay, again, you can't run away from Excel as well. Excel is exceptionally important as a data scientist. Then SQL. I don't think I need to even explain SQL anymore because I've said it already. You cannot be anything data without the understanding of SQL, structured query language. You must know how to interact with the data, with the database. Sometimes in some organizations, you might know the skill, but never use it because you have SQL analyst, you have database analyst. However, as a data scientist, your skill set is really not complete without the understanding of SQL. From SQL, you move into Tableau for analytics, because you're going to do a lot of amazing work. You need to visualize and showcase what you've done. You need to also know how to forecast, look into the future using Tableau. Okay, and then you move into Python. So Mohammed showed us a snapshot of what Python codes can look like. And I also mentioned specifically, today's class is not to learn how to use Python, it's actually to show what the Fabric environment looks like. But Python is amazing. It is the most robust data science language, one of the most robust languages that exist today. All right, so as a data scientist, you really can't run away from Python. You need to know how to use Python to carry out your analysis, to carry out your I saw a question in the chat, so that distracted me a bit. Your exploratory data analysis, like Mohammed showed, to build your machine learning models and build other amazing projects. I'll show you one amazing project on computer vision. Okay, you'd see how amazing it is. And of course, once you learn Python, you have to also learn the new technologies coming up, ChatGPT, generative AI, artificial intelligence. You need to know how to leverage them because that's the job of the future. Okay, a lot of your work would be so simple because of your understanding of ChatGPT and how to complement your already existing skill as a data scientist. So if you're in data science, you're in data analytics, today you don't know how to use ChatGPT, you have a long way to go. You'll do your job, no doubt about it. But you just find out that they recruited an intern, or they recruited, somebody just fresh out of the university. And they give the person a task that would have taken you maybe 1 day to complete. He does it in an hour. And they'll be like, this new guy, how come? Is he more efficient than you are? And the simple reason is because he can leverage tools like ChatGPT that will give him a head start on what to do, how to generate his codes, depending on what exactly he's trying to accomplish. So understanding how to complement your skills with generative AI like ChatGPT, knowing how to use Microsoft Fabric, which would put you ahead of the competition, also becomes very important. And of course, machine learning. You build machine learning models, starting from the simplest machine learning model ever, which is a linear regression model. Most of you don't know linear regression is actually a machine learning model. Okay, and what is machine learning again? It is a machine that can learn. You give the machine data, the machine learns from the data, understands the trends and patterns, and helps you predict what would happen. So it's like saying that fraud has been happening in a company. So you have fraudulent transactions in a company. You also have, transactions that are not fraudulent. You take that data that has both fraudulent and non-fraudulent transactions, and you build a machine learning model. The machine learning model will detect the patterns of the fraudulent transactions. So whenever you now give that model new set of data, it will tell you the ones that are fraudulent because it has learned how fraudulent transactions occur. So you build systems like that, and I'm sure you can imagine how wonderful, amazing having that type of skill would be, being able to predict things like that. Companies, several use cases, you are applying for a loan, and the moment you fill the form, they tell you that, I'm sorry, we can't give you the loan. Why? Because over time, they have a machine learning model that has learned the type of people that default on their loans and those that don't default. So once they know the country you come from. They know your city. They know where you live. They know your average income. They can tell that you default on the loan, and they don't give you that. They don't give you that that loan eventually. All right. So again, that's the power of machine learning: supervised machine learning, unsupervised machine learning, and of course, computer vision. Now, most of you have iPhones. All right. This is an iPhone. When you pick up your phone and place it in front of your face, what happens? The phone unlocks. Your Samsungs, your Androids also do that. Ask yourself the question, what technology drives that facial recognition? It's a simple technology, and you'll be building that in class as well. Let me show you what some of our participants built using computer vision in Python. All right. I'm just going to, with object detection, detecting the hands, detecting the posture. So just watch and see. We clipped all of this from LinkedIn. So I'm just going to play and just see what is happening. And I'll explain what is happening to you. So you can see the hand moving. It is detecting the hand. You'd see somebody else detecting the posture. The person is moving, is detecting the person's posture. And you can see that. All right, that's a posture detection, hand detection. And this is simply how the technology that drives your facial recognition on your phone, this is simply how it works. So it detects your facial features, and it has learned your facial features. So even when I'm wearing my glasses and I put my phone in front of me, it still opens up the phone because it can see my facial features and still know that it is still the same person. And these are the type of projects you'll be building in class, okay? Now, some people would ask me that, what is the use case of this? Apart from just, okay, facial recognition, opening up your phone, what other use cases are there? Now, companies have gone ahead to develop products based on these computer vision programs. And I'm going to play that just for you to see. Now, let me explain. So you have the Neutrogena Skin 360 app. Yes, the Neutrogena and the Optic Beauty Wand. Let me explain what they mean. Now, the Optic Beauty Wand is a wand for mostly for ladies. So it scans your face because there's a computer vision program built into the wand, the stick. It scans your face and it sees where you have freckles, you have dark spots, and it applies the exact quantity of cream or makeup that needs to be on that particular space. So ordinarily, me as a guy, I just take my cream, I rub my cream, rub it on my face. The same, quantity, I apply it across my entire face. But guess what? I don't need to apply the same, amount of cream across my entire face, because some parts are a bit darker, some parts are lighter, some places I have small freckles or pimples or something. How do I apply the right quantity? So I'm going to try to play this for you. And also the Neutrogena Skin 360 app. What does it do? You take a picture using your mobile, and the app would look at different thousands of other pictures and compare it to your face and recommend exactly what you need to do to address all the bumps or all the different, things you have on your face. So I'm just going to play one of the videos and then we'll move on. Sorry, just give me 1 second. I'll share so you can listen to the audio as well. So this is a practical application of the computer vision programs that you'll be building. So I'm just going to play this. Let me maximize so that you can see it clearly.
You really need to try this.
Let me see. This is no ordinary selfie. This is the new.
Sorry, I just paused there. Can you let me know if you can hear the audio? If you can hear the audio, just type in yes. Okay, fantastic. Somebody's typing red flag. What's the red flag? Somebody's saying, what do you mean by red flag? Okay. Williams, what do you mean by red flag, Williams? Can you substantiate that very quickly? And if you have questions, let me take your questions. So I'm just going to play the audio. I'll play the video again for you to see, and then we'll move on. Let me take it back to the beginning and play it again.
You really need to try this.
Let me see. This is no ordinary selfie. This is the Neutrogena Skin 360 app. To show you how it works, let's go inside.
Hi, I'm an algorithm. From just one scan, I can analyze over 2,000 facial attributes to assess your skin's health. Using this information, I can identify dark circles, wrinkles, and fine lines.
Science. This is an art. I've studied over 10,000 real human faces to understand the different needs of every skin type, age, and ethnicity.
Well, you can't rush art, but I can process over 100,000 skin pixels like this.
Ooh, yes, please.
Who's Maya?
She's an AI. Gives you personalized skin tips.
Wow, it's like magic. It's not. It's science.
Attaining perfect skin requires a holistic approach. I track your sleep, stress, and exercise to guide you on your perfect skin journey.
And your journey must-haves are this, and this. All great stuff, perfect for your sensitive skin. Let's just keep this between us. My recommendations are made just for you.
It's like it was made for me.
Well, yeah, that's the idea.
Download the free Neutrogena Skin 360 app today.
Hey, so again, just from what you've learned from this. Oh, okay. So Williams is saying, yeah, red flag, absolutely. When you detect fraudulent activity, that's a red flag. So you flag it and then you get it to the team knows how to investigate, and then they stop that transaction from happening because it is fraudulent. From this Neutrogena 360 app, those projects you build, like I mentioned, this detection, facial detection, posture detection, where it becomes very important is in its application. So you are applying it to real life situations whereby you can detect, you've trained a model using different types of facial features, dark skin, light skin, sensitive skin, and so on. And then you can recommend to somebody who uploads their facial picture to say that you have a sensitive skin and this is what you need to do, and so on and so forth. So that's a use case. I'm just going to I'll share the slides with you. I'll leave the links there so you can also look at the links. All right. So this is also something built by one of our participants, the data science at Datapo, where analyze US accidents case study to see where do you have the most number of accidents? What are the causes of accidents in the US? And this is Samuel. Something interesting about Samuel. And I've also left the links there so that you can see what people who have gone through Tenalytics are building and putting on LinkedIn. Samuel is a farmer. If you look closely, Samuel is a farmer. So people ask me the question to say that, oh, do you think I can learn? Do you think it's not too complex for me? So when you ask the question around, can I learn Python? Python is not Pythoning, and so on and so forth. We've had different types of people in our class: farmers, bakers, hairstylists, lawyers, medical doctors, different job functions across the job spectrum, basically. And they learn the skill because it is a heavily skill-based career path. Anybody can learn it. That's why up till today, you don't need to sit for an exam, pass the exam to get a certificate to say I'm a data scientist. It does not exist anywhere. There is no industry recognized certificate for data scientists. And why is that so? So you bring somebody like Samuel, who is a data scientist, has the skills, can write Python codes, can build machine learning models, and you bring somebody who has a certificate to say, oh, I can do this. When you are going for an assessment for any role as a data scientist or data analyst. You'll be given a case study. You'll be given problems to solve and present. If that person who is a farmer can analyze the data, come up with insights, present those insights, and you that claim to have a certificate, you can't do that. Or you claim to have a master's or PhD, but you can't do that. The person who can solve the problem gets the job. Because again, it is skill-based, 100%. All right. So people like Samuel are doing the job. They are learning Python. They are building amazing work, and they're getting jobs within the space. So don't think that, oh, because I've never done it before, I cannot learn it. Anybody can learn the skill. Okay. So again, these are different visuals built by different people who have gone through the program. And I'll show you models developed, a fraud case solved by one of our participants during the capstone project. I'll show you what the case looks like, the codes written, and the type of projects you be engaged in eventually. So how do you learn? How do you get into data science or data analytics? What does it take? All right. So for those of you that have been watching on YouTube for years and you really haven't gotten it, you can't place a finger on the skill on getting into the space. It takes you 4 months. It's a 4-month learning journey. 4 months learning journey. 3 months project-based classes. Classes where, like I mentioned earlier, projects, that's everything. You're working on projects, you have a facilitator, you have a trainer like myself, like Mohammed, and so many other professionals who work with you to show you how to solve problems, to show you what you need to do. Solving cases day in, day out. Once you are done with your 3 months project, 3 months project-based classes, you then have a capstone project to measure and assess all the skills you've learned. Once you are done with the capstone project, you then move into the 1-month internship. Now, this is where a lot of people eventually crack the code, because the internship itself is designed to simulate real life work experience, where you are presenting your findings to stakeholders. You are telling them that this is the decision you need to make. So it's a simulation of a real life work experience. You get to work on projects that you work on when you get a job as a data analyst or as a data scientist. And like I said, I'll show you some of the projects. Would look at the projects together. I'd love to get your feedback on what you think and so on and so forth. And your classes are also very flexible. So for people who, most of our participants are 9-to-5ers, work from 9 to 5, and also students across the globe, Canada, the UK, doing their masters, doing their PhD. So classes don't happen during the week. Your classes are weekends, Saturdays and Sundays. And we have flexible classes for different regions. If you're in Nigeria, if you're in the UK, if you're in Canada, or you're in the US, you have classes that fit your schedule. So if you're in Nigeria, if you're in the UK, your class on Saturday is 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. West Africa time, 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. All right. And on Sundays, you don't have a live class. And that's where the flexibility comes in. So you don't have to be in a class on Sunday. You get your Watch Me Do It videos, which you'd have to watch, practice the things you have in the Watch Me Do It video. And on Saturday, when you have your project-based classes, you practicalize all the things you've seen in your videos. And if you're in Canada, you're in the US, because a reasonable number of our participants come from that region. A Canadian would not be in a class that starts at 11 a.m., for example, in the UK. 11 a.m. in the UK is around 4 a.m. or 5 a.m. in Toronto. All right. So we have a class for you that fits your schedule. So if you're in Toronto, Canada, you are in British Columbia, you are in Alberta, it really doesn't matter. You have a class that starts at 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. your time. If you're in the US as well, you can fit into this class easily because it fits into the time zone of your region. So it's flexible. All right. So again, one thing I also want to mention is why people have not been getting jobs. And it's very painful because you see, I've worked with some of the biggest companies here in the UK, and I go into these companies and I don't see people like myself. I don't see Africans. I'm the only Black person on the team, or one or two other people, but they are not within the data team. They are doing other stuff. So the question is, how do we bring more people into the data ecosystem? Because the opportunities are enormous. I get calls, I get emails, can you recommend somebody to join our team? Can you recommend somebody who is good like you in Power BI, in this, in that? So the jobs are there. And like I mentioned, I'll show you how to apply to jobs, how you can get into job websites and see the requirements and how to apply to jobs. But it's time for people of the Black community to understand that to get jobs, it goes beyond your skills. Your skills, which is the technical skills, is just 50%. All right? And that's the reason why a lot of people don't get jobs. They are learning, they've watched so many materials, but again, they struggle because they don't know that it is beyond just your skill. So this is the other 50% that you need. How good is your CV? So I know people that would apply to 100 jobs with one CV and expect to get a positive feedback, but that would never happen. Why? Because to get good responses or feedback from jobs, your CV must be top notch. In the sense that when you look at the job description, you are able to match at least 85% of what the job description requires. And you don't have to do all the work yourself. So we show you how to do it leveraging platforms that can help you. All you need to do is copy your CV, paste it, copy the job description, the job requirements, paste it, and it will tell you that your CV matches this job by 50%, or it matches it by 90%. All right. So if you have a job where your CV matches by just 50%, if you apply to that job, do you think you'll get called? Impossible. It would also show you where you need to make adjustments. Okay, so this job requires you to understand DAX in Power BI, but you don't have DAX on your CV. So it means you need to add DAX to your CV. That would increase the match. And these are the platforms organizations also leverage. It's called ATS, Applicant Tracking System. Organizations cannot look at your individual CVs and make a decision. It's impossible. So they pass it through an applicant tracking system, and it weeds out all those CVs that fall within a particular threshold, maybe 50%. So they can set it, if it falls within 70, 75%, weed them out. Only give me CVs above 75%. So that if I get 1,000 applications, I'm only responding to maybe 100. And that's an easier number to deal with, the cream of the crop, people that actually fit into my job requirements. Those are the things we'll show you. And that's why it's also very important for you to have that. Now, you also talk about LinkedIn optimization. Okay, so if you go on LinkedIn today, type in #10analytics, you'd see that participants create social proof that they have built this. So you see all the projects I showed you, the guy that was a farmer, the guy that built this and that, they're all on LinkedIn. The links are there. You click on the link, it takes you to their profile. You'll see all the things they've built. So any recruiter that wants to make a decision, your first portfolio as a data analyst or data scientist should be your LinkedIn profile. So if I go there, I should not have a doubt that you are a data scientist. I shouldn't have a doubt that you are a data analyst. All right. Upwork optimization. Now we are in the era of soft work from home. I've been working from home for God knows how long. Work from home, you don't need to go into the office. You go into the office maybe once in a day or twice in a day. And most of the job descriptions you see today, that's a key element they use to also attract the best talents. Because the best talents today want to work from home. Even if I'm going to go to the office, maybe once in a week, or I even want to work from Nigeria, earn in dollars, earn in euros, and I work for organizations across the globe. Upwork is where it starts. So if you don't have an Upwork profile, we create one for you. If you have one, we help you optimize your Upwork profile so you start to get more jobs, then navigating the job market. This is where we simply show you that, look, For you to get jobs in this country, these are the things you need to do. Okay, if you're in Canada, where do you apply to jobs? What type of pathways can you leverage? If you're in the UK, how do you switch from either a student visa to a tier 2 visa, which is a skilled worker visa, or from a dependent visa to a skilled worker visa? These are things that we are doing it for our participants every day. But one of the things I've noticed over time is people have no clue what to do. So they come into the country and everybody is following this way. So they follow that way as well. Everybody is doing warehouse. Everybody is doing care jobs. Everybody is doing this. Everybody follows that way. But there are other ways available. All right. And we're in communication. One of the things we started doing is we're reaching out to schools and the Nigerian student societies across the different regions to get them on board, to say, look, it's high time we get more people, more Africans, people of the Black community into this space by, first of all, enlightening and creating the awareness. People don't know that to make the switch from a student visa to a tier 2 visa, skilled worker visa, requires 70 points. It's a point-based system. And how do I get my 70 points? Actually, very simple. Apply to a job that is on the shortage occupation list. That gives you minimum of 20 points. Apply to a job provided by a company that has the license to sponsor. That gives you another 20 points. So you have 40 points already. So how do I get my remaining 30 points? Are you a student? If you're a student, you have a student visa, that gives you, I think, about 20 points. So you have 60 points. And if you also meet the English language requirements, so if you're a student, you definitely meet the English language requirements. If you are not a student and your job falls within a particular salary threshold of above £26,000 per annum, that gives you an additional 20 points. So altogether, you have 80 points and you can apply for a skilled worker visa. But people don't know this. We've had sessions on this before, several sessions, how to transition. And it's part of the things you've learned under navigating the job market. And of course, references and recommendations where you need somebody credible to vouch for you, stand for your character and say they know you, they know what you can do. Job and interview preparation. You've gotten the job. You've never worked as a data analyst in the real world. You've been an accountant. You've been in strategy. You've been in procurement. How do you attempt questions that you'll be asked? It is easier and faster to learn when you work with professionals like myself, like the co-founder of Analyst, like Mohammed, who walked you through Fabric using Python. I'll show you the person Mohammed worked with, and so many other people. Nathaniel, his name is Nathaniel. Nathaniel was prepared, Mohammed prepared him for his interview just a couple of weeks ago, and he got the job last week, working in Spain with the largest privately owned pharmaceutical company as a data scientist. So you have professionals who would work with you to help you achieve that goal of getting a job. And last but not the least is your weekly mentorship session. For me personally, this is where I think participants get the best value, because every week you are seeing me, you are seeing the co-founder, other industry experts coming to tell you exactly what you need to do and answering your questions week in, week out. And for those who would be busy to miss 1 week or another week, all the sessions are recorded. So if you miss a weekly mentorship session, for example, you haven't missed anything. All you need to do is go to your platform. You have access to the recording and you can go ahead and watch the recording and also benefit from the session. So again, you'd work on so many projects: Castro Technologies Workplace, Nestle Product Analytics, online food delivery, where you'd work for a delivery company, helping them to make sense of their data. I'll show you this practically where people solve these problems and what it looks like. Okay, but these are the projects you would work on, because like I mentioned, projects are extremely important. Without the projects to put in your portfolio, you can't tell me you're a data analyst or you're a data scientist by mouth. is impossible. You must show me what you've done. Show me your portfolio. What type of projects have you worked on? Can I see your GitHub repo? Can I see your Power BI dashboards? Can I see your Excel solutions? What projects have you worked on? What type of data cleaning project? What type of machine learning models have you built? I want to see that to measure how good you are. So you work on so many projects. And like I said, I'll show you the projects on the platform, people that submitted, and we'll look at them together, okay? And we'll decipher exactly how we think we can go about it. Okay, we have just about, we're ending at 7:30. We're ending the session at 7:30 because I would love to take your questions too. So we have just about 16 minutes to go. Okay, so again, you work with professionals across different locations, experts, not people that learned on YouTube or learned on Coursera or learned on Udemy. No, these are people that are doing the job on a day-to-day. And that's why the projects you'll be working on are real life projects, but the data would have been, modified and codified not to represent the companies. So those are the type of projects you're working on from professionals who are currently doing the job, and you also get to learn from their experience. All right. So some of your facilitators includes myself, Tony, who is the data analytics lead at Analytics, Mohammed as well, who's going to work with you, Oladapo, who is a senior consultant with Deloitte in Bermuda, is going to work with you on Excel. And for Power BI, for those of you that are in Canada, you'd work with Olugbemi, who works with the Law Depot in Edmonton, Canada. And your data scientists, the data science facilitators, you have the co-founder of Analytics, Efemena, who is an astute professional, fantastic facilitator. You have Brima, who is a senior data associate with Analytics. You have Toma, who is also a senior data associate. Obina, who is a data scientist in Canada as well. Ibrahim, who is a machine learning engineer. Abdurrahman, who is a data science consultant with one of the big fours here in the UK. You have Chinazam, who works with DPD Ireland, one of the largest logistic companies across Europe, as a data analyst. And of course, you have Emmanuel, who works with Softcom as the lead data and insight analyst. For those of you in Nigeria, you know Softcom. All right. So these are the professionals you'll be working with, industry professionals, people that are doing the job on a day-to-day. Our next cohort starts on the 5th of August. All right. Starts on the 5th of August. And again, 5th of August, you start your journey into data analytics, into data science. And for people who have asked me, people are in my DM asking, oh, how much does it cost to be a part of the program? I would love to join. Somebody sent me a message to say, oh, I would love to join. I'll be making my payments this week, but I'm scared of Python. And I was trying to pacify him to let him know that, look, if you don't want to code, you don't have to. If you don't want to learn mathematics, statistics, you don't have to. You can move into data analytics. But again, if you think you want to do amazing work in the area of data science, statistics is not the way you learn in university. It's a total shift from how you've been learning. The way you're used to learning is to learn by reading and solving without knowing why you are solving. And it would shock you that even in the UK, in Canada, you apply to do a master's, you start your program, you'd find out that what you learn in school is totally irrelevant to how you solve problems in the real world. And most people they just realize when they're about to finish that, look, I really not learned anything in school. For those in the UK specifically who agree with me 100%, all you're given is assignments, coursework, you write articles and so on, research papers that are not relevant in the real world to solving real life problems. So to get your journey started, okay, to join the cohort starting on the 5th of August, it would cost £400 for those paying in pounds, or 320,000 naira for those paying in naira. But when we have master classes like this, one of the things we always try to do is to give the opportunity for discounts for those who would love to join. So I had a similar session about 3 days ago, where we also talked about Fabric, myself, Mohammed, and Victor. And within the 3 days, between that time and now, all the 20 slots for the data analytics and data science are gone in less than 3 days. So what's the discount? So instead of paying 320, if you are paying in Naira, or 400 pounds, if you are paying in pounds, all you have to do is pay 300 pounds. And this is not open-ended. It's just for the first 20 people who will be joining data science from this class or joining data analytics from this class. And you can also make payments in 2 installments of 200 pounds to start and 100 pounds 1 month after the program commences. And if you're paying in Naira, instead of paying 320, you get to pay 270 to be a part of the program, 180 to start. You get your welcome kits, you get started, you start your journey on the 5th of August, and 1 month after, you get to pay the balance of 90,000. And if you're paying in US dollars, you get to pay $400 instead of 500. And you make payments in 2 installments as well, 300 to start, 100 1 month after the program, 500 Canadian dollars if you're paying in Canadian dollars. So instead of paying 600 Canadian dollars, you get to pay 500. And you can also make payments in 2 installments as well, 350 to start, and then 150 1 month after the program starts. So my colleagues would be in the charts. They'll be in the chat section. If you want to make payment to join, there are different payment channels you can take advantage of. If you're making payments in Canadian dollars, you're making payments in pounds, you're making payments in euros, you can use PayPal to make your payments. All right. And for those of you who would want to make a direct transfer, you can also do a direct transfer to any of our accounts. For me, if I were you, what I'll do is I'll take a screenshot of the account details if I want to do a direct transfer. Because like I said, usually the way it goes is this. The session ends today. Within the next 2 days, all the 20 slots for the 2 different programs are gone. And people would come up and say, oh, I would still love to join. Is the discount still available? And so on and so forth. Okay, so if you're paying in pounds, this is the pound account. If you're paying in Naira, it's a Fidelity Bank account, and you get to pay in Naira. Once you make your payments, either the full payment or part payments, as the case might be, my colleagues would send you a link for you to upload your proof of payments and register. Once we confirm your payments, you receive a welcome kit. The welcome kit contains all the materials that you need. For example, data science, you need to download some packages, some applications, Excel, Power BI, Tableau, Anaconda, which would have your Python and all of that. You need to download them. So you'd have videos on how to download all the materials, your timetable on Saturdays and Sundays, Saturday when you have your live classes, Sundays where you have your Watch Me Do It. So you have all those materials available, and then you are ready ahead of the class starting on the 5th of August. And if you ever need to reach out to us, you need to ask a question, you need to schedule a one-on-one session with myself or with the co-founder, with anybody, you can just send us a message to any of these numbers, all right? And my colleagues will respond to you. Okay, you can also make payments using Paystack, another channel for those who want to make payments using their cards in Nigeria, in Ghana. You can make payments using Paystack. So all you need to do is click on the link, the Paystack link, and it takes you into the Analytics storms. All right, so all I need to do is click on the data analytics program, and then I can select how do you want to pay, full or part payments. I can select full payments, and then I get to pay 270, or I can select part payments and I get to pay 180 to be a part of the program. All right, you add to bag, and then you check out, add your other details, and then you are good to go. And once you have all of that done, like I mentioned, again, my colleagues will send you a link. We get your proof of payments, we confirm, and then you receive a welcome kit. If you ever want to send us an email, you can send us an email using data analytics tenalytics.io or datascience@tenalytics.io, or send us messages to any of these numbers. I said I was going to show you people who have gone through the program and they've been able to achieve success in terms of getting jobs. There are too many of them, but I'll show you a few and I'll try to explain their journey. All of them started the way you would also start. Okay, so you can also learn from their story, from their journey and how they started. First of all, you have Sunday. Sunday got his job last week. Okay, he just got his job last week as a regulatory data analyst. Okay, as a regulatory data analyst, he joined our full stack data science program. All right, so he's still within the program. He hasn't completed his program and he got this job. When he got the job, he sent us a message. He sent a message to the class data coach. I've gotten the job. Of course, we worked with him to help him prepare for the job, and he got the job as a regulatory data analyst in the UK. All right, and we also have Nathaniel. Mohammed talked about Nathaniel. Nathaniel got a job as a data scientist with Boringa in Spain, and this is Nathaniel sending a message to Mohammed. He's saying, okay, I got the job, man. Got the confirmation now. Thank you so much for your help. All right, so Mohammed worked with him. This is how we should prepare. These are the questions you need to consider. Let us simulate. Okay, so I'll ask you questions, you respond. Based on the responses, I'll give you a feedback. And where the interview preparation becomes very key is I can pick somebody randomly on this call today and ask the question, tell me about yourself. It's a famous interview question. You must get that question in an interview. Tell me about yourself. And you'd hear them stutter. They don't know what to say. But again, there are different methods to answering that question. And the approach you just need to know is called the SEAT approach. SEAT, SEAT approach. Once you understand this approach and you get the question, tell me about yourself, you would never ever stutter again. S means skills. You talk about your skills, first of all. E means experience. You then talk about your experience. A means achievements. You go to your achievement, talk about your achievements. And T means traits or type of person. So who are you? Are you a team player? Do you love to solve problems? And so on and so forth. So this is a constructive approach to answering the question, tell me about yourself. Things as simple as this can determine if you eventually make the cut or not during an interview. And of course, we also have Amaka. Amaka works today with a local council here in the UK as a business support analyst after joining our data analytics program. She got a job last week as well. So the very first ones are the most recent jobs, people that got jobs after completing our program. You have Desola. Desola got a job as well in the UK with the NHS. I always tell people, for those who are in the UK, the NHS is that company that you know, if you get a job with them, you're going to get a skilled worker visa. All right, you get a skilled, and for those that don't know what a skilled worker visa is, it means you would be on a visa category where if you work in that country for 5 years using that same visa type, after 5 years, you can apply for ILR. And what does ILR means? Indefinite leave to remain, which means you can remain in the UK indefinitely. You don't need a visa to come to the UK, to stay in the UK, and so on and so forth. And 1 year after your ILR, you can apply for citizenship. So that's why you'd see that it's pertinent and it's very important for people who come here as students. They want to migrate and transition from their current student visa into the tier 2 or the skilled worker visa. We have Benga. Benga is in Poland. Benga got a job as a business data analyst after joining our data analytics program. And when Benga got his job, he sent me a message. And this is the message saying that, boss, I got the job. I was super excited for Benga. Oh, fantastic. And he's saying that the team has been very helpful, especially with the background check. What's the background check and why is that also important? Remember, I talked about references and recommendations. the companies would want to know who you are. Are you somebody, are you an impersonator? Are you somebody who, have done something in the past? All right. So they want somebody to vouch for you. And that's where we also bring our expertise. All right. So this is Benga saying, I want to say I appreciate this opportunity you gave to me. But I gave him the opportunity in the sense that we built a platform where Nigerians like Benga can thrive. But Benga had to take the decision. And I was telling him that, Benga, it's all my pleasure. And thank you for choosing Tenalytics and for making the leap into joining, starting your data analytics journey. Now, apart from this, Benga also got 3 more offers. Okay, he was also telling me that, look, I didn't just get this job, I got 3 more offers. Why do I know Benga's story very much? I prepared Benga for an interview. He also worked with 2 of our other associates, Tony and Olabisi. They worked with Benga, prepared him as well, and he was very well prepared. He had his first interview. He didn't make the cuts. He had another interview, and eventually, all the interviews he went for afterwards, he got 4 offers. He went with 1 and he still had 3 offers. He had to say, no, I'm not going to go for this because I have better opportunities with the other offers. And this is Steven. Steven always works as a customer analyst, customer experience analyst. So customer care, basically that's what it means with Tesco. Steven joined our program in February this year. Today, Steven works as a junior data analyst with the Access Group in the UK. You have Wislin. Wislin also currently works with Shell in the UK as a sales analyst. Wislin had never done anything data before. Why am I also very familiar with Wislin's case? When Wislin was preparing for her interview this year, she joined our program last year, I think around October or thereabouts. She sent me a message and then we jumped on a call. We looked at the job description, prepared her for the interview. I sent her materials for her to look and read. And she reached out to me eventually to say, oh, thank you very much, Adeza. I got the job. And she specified 4 months after completing the internship. So she completed her entire program. And 4 months after, she was able to land the job as a sales analyst with Shell, not Shell in Nigeria, Shell in the UK. And you have Emeka, who works with Western Union in the UK. You have Olugbemi, who works with the Law Depot in Canada. So many professionals. Uthman works with the NHS in the UK after completing our data analytics program. You have Ubong, who works with Cognizant in the UK after completing 2 of our programs, data analytics and data science. And Idris works with Jaguar Land Rover. So most of you drive a Jaguar, you have a Land Rover, but Idris works with them here in the UK, in Coventry. So Idris also completed our full stack data science program. Ebube works with the NHS, also completed our full stack data science program. And she was saying, thank you, Tenalytics, my first proper job after the Tenalytics training. And for those of you in the UK, you would understand when somebody says my first proper job, because people do so many things, so many types of jobs here in the UK that can be frustrating. But the only way you can break out of that or break out from that is to have the skills to apply for the best jobs out there. You have Abdul Rashid. Abdul Rashid works from Nigeria, Ilorin, Kwara State. He works with Chow 420 in the US, works remotely. So depending on your own career objective, I want to work remotely, I want to be in this particular, I want to work in the UK, I'm in the UK, I'm in Canada, I'm in Nigeria, this is what I want to do. We work with you to help you achieve your career objectives, okay? So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take some questions and then we can call it a day. But before I take your questions, I want you to let me know, would you love to see the type of projects you'd work on during the capstone and internship? If you would love to see the projects, let me know. I'll be very happy to share the projects with you. Or if you have questions you'd like me to answer your questions, also let me know. and I would answer, okay, yes, please, you want to see the projects. Fantastic. Bento says, yes, please share the projects. Absolutely. I'll share them with you. And again, I mentioned earlier that the projects are very crucial. Why? Because when you get a job, or before you get a job, not when, before, your recruiters would want to know how well you can perform. Yes, you'll be given an assessment, but before that, what type of projects have you worked on that shows that you have the skill? Okay, so I'm going to share my other screen and I'll show you some of the projects that you have and you're going to work on. So let's first of all look at, so let's go to where we have the data science capstone. I think that's the cohort 12. Just give me a second and I'll open for those that have completed their capstone project. Okay, they've completed their capstone project. Yes, so let's go to the full stack data science cohort 12. Cohort 12, and I'll show you the project. We'll look at it together, and I'd also love to get your feedback. So let's go to their project. Okay, so this is capstone project. All right. So the capstone project, like I mentioned, once you complete your project-based classes, you complete your classes, you work on a capstone. That capstone is a project that you deploy several skills across, and then you present and have recommendations. All right, so let's go to the capstone project material. So this is the case study. Let me open it up so you can see what the project looks like, and then we'd see submissions from people that have completed the case study. So this is a customer segmentation and deposits detection system. All right. Now, you'll be working for a bank called Nexus. Nexus Bank wants to know the type of customers. Okay, so let's see the problem. Okay, Nexus Bank wants to understand how effective their campaigns are and also develop marketing campaigns to reach specific customer segments by analyzing their customer behavior, the loan trends, marketing campaign effectiveness, and so on and so forth. Now, what does this mean? Nexus Bank have been carrying out different types of campaigns, and they have customers who would want fixed term deposits, which means that if Adesa is a customer of Nexus Bank, Adesa would deposit maybe £10,000 for 3 months. All right. Nexus Bank wants to know the type of customers that will deposit £10,000 and leave that £10,000 for the 3 months they have said they would love to leave it. And the customers that would say, I want to deposit my money for 3 months, but they come back after 1 month to say, give me back my money. I can't keep it again for 3 months because I need the money. So these are some of the things, Nexus Bank wants to find out. So you have your data dictionary, which shows you all the features of the data you have, the colons, the age colon, the job colon, the marital status, and so on and so forth, okay? So you have the analysis you perform, your problem definition, exploratory data analysis, feature engineering, your selection, your model, building your model, and all of that, okay? So now this is the case itself. Let's look at the submission of people who have completed this, and let's see if we can make any sense out of it. Excuse me. So I'll come to capstone project submission. 24 projects assigned, 22 people submitted. So I'm just going to click on this and let's see some of the submissions and let's look at it together. All right. So you have people that submitted their projects. These are people that submitted their projects. Okay. So I'm just going to open one randomly. Let me see. Whose one should I open? Let's open Henry. So I'll right click. Let's open Henry's project. Okay, so Henry submitted a Jupyter notebook file. All right, so I'm going to open this. Let's open it with Google Colab. I think we can do that. So let's open it and let's see what Henry submitted and how important or interesting Python can be. So if it doesn't open on Colab, okay, yes, it opens. So this is the Python IDE. Collab is an IDE. Okay, so what is an IDE to be specific? It is just a platform where you write your Python codes. So you saw when Mohammed opened that thing he opened in Fabric, the notebook, and was writing Python, that's also an IDE. Okay, so this is what Henry has submitted. So many codes, you can see the codes, the Python code he has written to analyze and build his model. I'm just going to scroll down. All right, you see some visualizations, but what we are focused on is his recommendations. So you can see the box plots he has when he carried out his univariate analysis of the categorical columns. You can see from this that the adults that are less than or equal to 55 constitutes the highest number of customers in the business. Okay, all writing the code. The same similar codes that Mohammed was writing, plt.x label, plt.y label, plt.title, similar. You learn all these things. Henry was somebody who had no idea of Python before he joined. But I want us to go to his recommendations. Let's ignore all these different things he's done. Let's go to his recommendation and see from all these analyses he's been able to carry out, what does he recommend to Nexus Bank? What do they need to do to get the best? So I'm just going to scroll down to where he has his recommendations. Just pardon me. Yes, I think, let me see if it's, yes, here. So I'm just going to read this out and I'm sure you can see my screen. Okay, so let's see let me maximize a bit. So let's see what Henry is recommending to Nexus. He's saying that finally, so he said so many things, but we don't have all the time to read that. Although there was no much of an issue in regards to loan defaults, we can dig deeper the profile, this and that, customer age brackets, okay? The old adults, 55 to 65, are most likely to default in loan. So you have customers, however, the people defaulting are between the ages of 55 to 65, all right? Marital status, the divorced customers are most likely to default. Contacts, customer with unknown contacts are highly likely to default. Education, customer with the highest education are secondary, meaning that customers that have just secondary education, that's the highest, also have the highest default numbers. Job category, entrepreneurs, unemployed, and blue-collared customers returned as the most defaulters. So if you have somebody who is an entrepreneur, who is running a business, and perhaps whatever he makes is what he gets, and people that are unemployed and the blue-collared customers, they would also likely default on loans. Okay, so from these recommendations, it's easy for the company to then decide on what to do. So if we're giving out loans to 55 and 65, we know the range and ratio. And this is not all the analysis. Okay, so he has more analysis he's done below, but we're not going to go into that because of time. All right, so the marital status, it means that we have customers that are divorced, they're likely going to default. So we know that if we are assigning loans to a specific type of customer, we assign the minimal loan to customers who are likely going to default, so that we reduce the rates at which the loan defaults would happen. So here he built his unsupervised machine learning, okay? And again, I'll mention something. Henry had never done this before. Just like most of you in the class, you'll be wondering what type of, gibberish am I seeing on the screen? It's always like that when you don't know. It's like magic, like idon, like somebody said, but it's totally something that everybody can learn. So this is Henry's submission, and there are so many submissions like you saw, all right? People submitted different things, and here you have their submissions. But let's look at one more for the data analytics projects that people solved. They looked at the project, solved the project, and they turned in their submission, okay? So I'm just going to go to the data analytics, and let's look at it together. And then from there, we'll take questions. So those are some of the projects that you work on in data science. That's just one. If you go to the internship, there are so many other projects, but again, we don't have all the time because I don't want us to overrun the time by too much. So I'll go to another cohort that have completed their capstone, and let's look at what they've done. Let me check this and see. I think they should have completed here, and let's see their projects and let's look at it. All right, because it's all about projects, like I mentioned, all about projects. Okay, so let's go to the capstone. Of course, you get solutions to the capstone project so that you get to see where your errors are, where you can make adjustments. This is your platform where all your materials are in this platform. Your recordings, your class materials, they're always here. You can always come back here every single time. Okay, so let's go to the capstone project. Okay, so this is the capstone project. This is an Excel capstone. It is an aviation case study. This is a Power BI project, the Nestle project. Let's go to Nestle. All right, let's look at the case study for Nestle first of all. Let's look at the case study, and then we'll come back here to see what somebody has submitted. So the Nestle case study is a product analytics case study where you would help Nestle as a company to understand their products, the product that's generating the highest revenue, what they need to do, their expansion, and so on and so forth. Okay, so you have the case, you have your tailored analysis, you download your data sets and all of that. So let's see somebody that has submitted, and let's see what they submitted. So I'll just come in here and let's see a submission that we can look at together. I'm going to click on, let's look at Deborah. We can also look at Chuku, but let's click on Deborah and see what Deborah submitted on her Power BI project. Okay, so this is Deborah's submission. All right, so what has Deborah built? She's built a dashboard to tell a story of the total revenue generated by Nestle. All right, what their revenue had, looks like year on year, a year-on-year trend. So in 2018, they had something like this. All right, in 2019, in 2020, where do they generate the highest revenue? From which location in Australia? Because the data is from Nestle in Australia. This Tasmania, that's where they get the highest revenue, $20,000. South Australia, $12,000, and so on. Then you look at the products. Which product generates the most for them is Milo. You can see Milo over here. All right, that's the bar, the highest. You have Nescau, KitKat, Maggi, Nescafe, and so on. So you can see clearly what to recommend and advise the customer, advise the business. Okay, so there's something wrong here with the Western Australia, meaning that, look, we need to look into this region. We are not making sales. What's the problem? Okay, so this is a dashboard built by Deborah Tolulokwe. Deborah built this, and there are so many other people. Let's look at Kike. Kike also built hers as well, submitted this. It's also the same data sets, but built with a different flavor. And this is what you get to learn. All these people had learned nothing regarding Power BI. They had no experience, they had no knowledge, but they came into the program, they learned how to build amazing visuals like this. And this is Kike building. And you can see also what Kike is also showing. Milo generates the highest revenue. You can see that here. That's the longest bar. And you can see clearly what Kike has also been able to submit. And there are so many other projects, not just, Nestle. You have, you have Express Tech, which I was talking about earlier. Express Tech is a company, is a logistic company. You can see the supply chain analytics project. Okay, you get to work on this and so many other projects as well. I wish I could show you everything. They are currently doing their internship. Let's see the internship project they are working on. It's an airline optimization project. I'll click on that. They're currently working on this. Now, the airline optimization project is to help an airline company to understand their pricing levels and help predict and also optimize their operations. So this is a data dictionary that contains all the columns, and then you download your data over here. And of course, you have the objective. Your objective is to help the company do what? Come up with solutions and solve their problems. You have tailor analysis. You look at this to guide your expectations, okay? Now, what do we expect from you as an analyst? Executive summary. So you're going to develop a report, okay? You develop a report, talk about your summary, your introduction, the methodology, the data set, analysis and findings, and you do all of this. This is what they are currently doing, okay? Somebody has submitted. One person has submitted. Let's quickly look at what he turned in, what he submitted. His name is Theo. I know Theo very well. He's a fantastic guy. Theo submitted this, and I'll show you Theo's dashboard very quickly. All right, I think, let me see. I'll just download it, and I'll show you Theo's dashboard, what he was able to create, that airline optimization project. All right, we'll see if we can look at it. And let's see what Theo has been able to create. And these are projects that when you get into an interview, okay, and they ask you, how have you used data to solve a problem? You're not going to stutter because you have worked on multiple projects that you can talk about. You just tell them that I worked with Analytics as a data analyst, and some of the things I did was to help an airline company optimize their operations by building a dashboard to track and monitor the different destinations, the different pricing levels, and so on and so forth. All right, it's coming up. I'll show you as soon as it comes up, the Power BI, and we'll look at it together. Okay, so this is the report Theo also submitted, his executive summary, his key findings. Look at his key findings and his recommendation. His recommendation is, I would suggest more airlines to offer business class flights like the Vistara and Air India counterparts, okay? And the reason is because the business class generates the highest revenue, all right? But let's look at what he has built on his dashboard, and you'd see what Theo has been able to accomplish. So this is Theo's dashboard. You can see that clearly. So you can see Vistara over here, and you can see Air India. They have the highest revenue. So if I'm going to recommend anything to them, I would say, look, follow what Vistara is doing, okay? Their best flight periods are the morning to evening and the morning to night. Those are the periods that generate the highest revenue. Also, their ticketing, they generate the highest revenue when they have one stop. So when people are flying, when there is only one stop in between flights, that's when they generate their highest revenue. So they'll try as much as they can to buy maybe bigger aircraft that can go long distances without having to stop, and so on and so forth, okay? So this is Theo's submission to that project. And like I mentioned, that is where you become an analyst, where you start to proffer solutions and recommendations to clients. I'm going to stop there for now, and I'll take questions, and then we call it a day. So if you have questions, please feel free. If you feel very compelled to speak, use the raised hand icon, and then I would ask you to unmute yourself. Onula is asking, hi Deza, is it possible we get that notebook you demonstrated from the capstone? No, you can't get that, Onula. That's something you only get when you're a part of the program, okay? It's not for public consumption. So I just showed you so you have a feel of what you'll be learning, the type of projects you'll be learning as well. Can we have access to multiple courses, for example? Absolutely, Dimeji. You can have access if you make payments for those multiple classes, okay? So to join the data analytics, that's the fee. It's £300 if you're paying in pounds. It's 270,000 naira if you're paying in naira, okay? If you also want to learn data analytics and data science, you can, but you make payments for the two. However, you can't learn them together, okay? It's practically impossible because you'd have too many things, too many classes, clashing, and you would not be able to follow through at the end of the day. All right. So the advice is you join one. Once you complete that, if you want to join another program, you can always join as many programs as possible. Okay, so those are the first two questions I've seen in the chat. I'll take other questions. Are the data for the projects open source or they belong to real clients? Some of the data sets are open source. You get them on Kaggle. We got them on Kaggle and we framed case studies around them. Some of the other case studies are my own experience, Efemena, who is the co-founder, but we've been able to do what? Codify the data sets. So you can't track, you can't from the data, pinpoint the company or anything like that because of privacy issues. So you also have that. How are the classes scheduled? Classes are Saturdays and Sundays. All right. So let me show you what a typical class looks like. Let's go back into the classroom. So classes are Saturdays and Sundays. Saturday, 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. Sunday, you don't have a live class on Sunday. So Sundays are for your watch me do it videos. Okay, so let's go back to the class just to answer on Nula's question very quickly. So this is the most recent data analytics classes. They started this July, 1st of July. The EU is for Nigeria, Europe, UK, because they have the same time zone. NA is for North America, so Canada, US, and so on and so forth. So let's open the EU, right? And let's see the classroom. So once your payment has been confirmed and you've made payments, your payment has been confirmed, you get into this classroom, okay? So the very first thing you'd see in the classroom is your onboarding materials. You have your welcome kit. So let me click on the welcome kit so you have a feel of what it looks like. So your welcome kit contains all the things you need, all right? So this is myself and the co-founder. You have a video from us welcoming you into the program. And then we have a famous quote that says, it always seems impossible until it is done. Okay, so many people feel they can never learn Python, they can never learn Power BI or Excel until they eventually become superstars. So again, what you need to come to class with, you have everything in here. And then you have a summary of the class that you have, and then you have your lesson plan. So the lesson plan, for example, this is the July cohort, started on the 1st of July, all right? So you start with problem solving, introduction to data analytics, problem solving techniques. You start with that, then you have your Excel starting. So you have your lesson plan, and then you have when your capstone is going to start, your mentorship sessions, your virtual internship, the offboarding once you complete, and then your CV review sessions, how to navigate the job market, everything, you also have it here. Then how to download. So that's the first thing you'd see in your classroom, okay? Now, the problem solving class, this is the first class you join, all right? So you have the login details. All you do is come in here, click on the login detail, you join the class, you have the slides. So if, for example, you miss the class on Nula, if you miss the class, you come back to the platform, you have your slides, okay? So you really don't miss anything. This class was taken by Nene. Nene is a strategic planning professional, over 5 years experience. She's worked with KPMG in Nigeria, worked with the Bank of America. She currently works with Zelos. Zelos is a Nike licensee here in the UK. She is your facilitator for problem solving. So you start with the very basic, which is what is data. All right. So your classes are strategic. You don't start by jumping and building stuff. No, you start from the basic. What is data? You understand the types of data, quantitative, qualitative, and all of that. Okay. So again, the recording is also available in case you missed the class. So the classes are recorded. This is the link to the recording. You have access to the recording. Once you are done with your first class, you have your Watch Me Do It videos for Excel. And of course, you'll do your mentorship session. And then you have your first Excel live class. You have the class materials in case you miss the class. All right, you have your class material uploaded here. You come here, download. You have your login details. You have the class for Excel as well. And that's the link to the recording, just in case you want to come back to watch the recording. Okay, so you have your mentorship sessions, which are also recorded. They are also here. Okay, so you want to schedule an interview. That's the link. All you need to do, click on the link. All right, so if I click on this link, I want to schedule an interview because I have an interview coming up next week. So I click on the link, I click on Tuesday. I want to schedule Tuesday. What time? What the times are available, you see them here. All right, 4:30, 5, 5:36, 6:37. I want to choose 4:30. I click on next. I enter my name. I enter my email. I enter. Share anything that will help us prepare you for the interview. So you enter it there. And once you click on schedule, we get a notification. You also get a calendar invite. And that's how you schedule your interview preparation sessions. Okay. So it's an all-encompassing platform where you work with the best of the best. You get trained by the best of the best. And you also get the best jobs available out there. One of the reasons why Tenalytics differs from all other platforms is because you have a holistic approach to learning. You don't just learn the skill, you learn by learning all the things you need to get a job. John Law, 270K is not for both courses. It is for one program, one. Okay, so I think I clearly explained that. If you want to join data analytics, you can't possibly do the two. I just mentioned that earlier. It is practically impossible. The two programs start on the 5th of August, data analytics and data science. Classes run the same time. So how do you want to attend a class at 11 to 2 here and at the other place? It's not possible. All right. So the 270 is for one class. Even if I told you it's for two classes, will you believe me? You would think I want to run away with your money because it doesn't make any sense. All right. So 270K is for one class, £300 is for one class, $400 is one class, 500 Canadian dollars is one program. Okay, so it's either you're joining data analytics or data science. If you want to join the two, I'd advise you not to. Join one, you complete that, and then you join the other one because you can't do the two at once. It is an intensive and immersive program for 4 months. You can't do the two, no matter how intelligent. If your IQ is 180, you can't catch up with the two classes. Okay. Who is Joanne? Joanne is a data associate at Tenalytics. So I have my colleagues. I have Joanne. I have Iyesome, who is also on the call. They are my colleagues, and they are also answering questions. All right. What's the difference between the full stack data science and the data analytics? I think I mentioned that earlier. As a data scientist, you are working mostly on predictive analytics, predicting the future, what would happen in the future. You are building machine learning models and so on and so forth. Okay, as a data analyst, you are working with descriptive and diagnostic analytics, building dashboards, understanding what the data says so that the company can take decisions. These are the type of customers we have. These are the locations where the customers come from. So if I'm developing solutions or programs, I'll develop them to these locations and to these customers. While a data scientist can forecast and predict what we need to do to prepare for the future. Okay, so take, for example, you go on Netflix, you watch your movies, and then Netflix is recommending another movie to you. And you find it interesting because Netflix has been able to create a profile understanding the type of movies you love to watch. So it recommends the type of movies you would like to see. All right. So that's also predicting what you'd like to see by using recommender engines. So these are the type of project, the type of things you build. So if you go on Netflix, you open your profile, you'll see some movies that have 98%, 95% match. That shows that if you look at the type of movies you've watched in the past, they are similar. And that's why you have a very high score. That's machine learning 101. Okay. So that's the difference between a data analyst and a data scientist. Let's see. Adewale is asking, please, I suppose this is a continuous program. So if so, when is the next batch? All right. When is the next batch? This is because I have already registered. Okay. So when is the next batch? The next batch starts in September. We have classes start at the beginning of every month, but the discounts, I'll tell you for a fact today, if you come back in September, the price is totally different. Because if you're a Nigerian, for example, you would know that pounds last month and pounds this month are totally different. So we are still using the 900 Naira to the pound, which is, we want to maintain the same fee so that the shock is not so much for our customers, all right? But the pounds to Naira, for example, is a pound to 100 to 1,058 as at yesterday. So if you do the math, the price cannot be 270,000 going forward. That's going to change. So that's why I advise, and the discount is also not going to be available month on month. If you want to be a part of the program in the future, take, for example, September, because the next cohort starts on the 2nd of September. Make your payment today to take advantage of the discounts and defer your program to September, or defer to October or November or December. All right. So from January, when we started our first cohorts for the year 2023, we've had classes in January, cohorts in January, February, March, April, May, June, July. The August cohort starts on the 5th of August. The September cohort starts on the 2nd of September, but without the discount and with also a change for those who would want to make payments in Naira. That fee is going to change 100%. Okay. Let's see if I have any other questions. Bonnie's asking, as a beginner, which one does anyone really? As a beginner, you can go for any of the programs. All right. So like I mentioned, every class starts, we assume you know nothing. So we start from zero. Everybody's on the same level when the class starts. If you are advanced, you already know it before, it doesn't matter. If you are zero, you have no clue, it doesn't matter, because everybody starts from the same level. So you start from ground zero and you build your way up from there. Okay. I attended the masterclass data engineering yesterday, and I'm confused which one to join. So it's totally your choice, Akolade. All right, but I'll give you, a sense of what you need to do to make that decision. Okay. As a data engineer, you are not going to interact with people as much as you would as a data scientist. Why? A data engineer is simply just meant to get data from the different sources, make that data available, create data pipelines to make the data available for the data analyst, for the data scientist, for every other person that needs the data in the company. So you are focused more on the systems and with your computer. Where does the data, where do we generate data? We generate data on our websites. I need to scrape data from that website. We generate data on using our mobile apps. I need to get data from the mobile apps. So you're going to be interacting with systems, creating your pipelines, moving data, transforming the data, loading the data into a database or data warehouse. Okay. As a data scientist, you're not going to do all of that. That's the role of the data engineer. As a data scientist, you're going to build your machine learning models, you're going to solve problems and present your problems to the stakeholders. So you're going to stand in front of people. You're going to be on Teams meetings, Zoom meetings, presenting your findings, telling them why they need to take this decision. Okay, I showed you some case studies, the Nexus Bank case study. You saw what Henry submitted, where he said, the customers that default fall within the age range of 55 to 65. So when he's recommending to the stakeholders, he's going to tell them that, look, if we're giving out loans, we need to reduce loans to this category of customers because this is what the data says. So as a data scientist, you're going to interact with people, you're going to have interviews, you're going to build your models, you're going to present, you're going to visualize your data, do your analysis. So for me, I find that very interesting. I've done that for about 10 years of my career, and that's the best 10 years I've ever had. I always tell people that the best decision I made as an individual. And one of these days, I think I would have the time to tell my story. One of the best decisions I've made in my life as a human being is becoming a data analyst. All right. It's taking me to places that I would never have dreamed of getting to. And that's the respect you get as a data analyst, because you've done the analysis and you can tell people what they cannot see. Even the owners of the business, the people that set up the business, they can't see what you see. All right. So that's the power of a data analyst or a data scientist. Again, if you're somebody who just wants to sit behind your computer or in front of your computer, doing all the work, creating your pipelines, then data engineering might be good for you. But also remember, the data engineering fee is different from the data science fee. And I'm sure you got that during the session yesterday. Does it? Yes, it does, Benedict. It does. It includes that. Let me show you. You're going to present. So when you solve a problem, you have your presentations. All right. So let's take, for example, Benedict. You have a case study. You work on the case study. You would present your findings, because in the real world, you would also present your findings and you get feedback. And that's where you develop confidence. So I'll show you some presentations done. All right. I'll show you presentations done. So again, you have the capstone presentation. I hope I've not passed. Okay, sorry, this is July. We can't see it here because this is a recent cohort. They haven't done their projects yet. So let's see a cohort where they have done their projects and presented. Okay, did I close it? Okay, no. Okay, so let's go back. All right, so I'm going to show you. So can you see the capstone project presentation? You present. So let me play it to you and you see people presenting their cases. So you're going to learn how to present. You're going to learn how to be a data scientist because it involves presentation. So this helps you build your public speaking skills. If you've never done it before, you're going to do it in class and you start to get used to it. How do you present your findings and your solutions? All right. So I'm just going to play that and I'll show you how people have, what they presented after completing their projects. Okay, I think I paused. All right, we're just going to wait for it to load and then I'll show you. But it does involve. Tari says, I didn't get my welcome kit after payment confirmation. I'd get it before. Absolutely, you will, Tari. You will get it as long as, if you make payment, you get a confirmation email, 100%. Once you get your confirmation email, your welcome kit comes after that. Right, so let me show you.
Because
I'm just going to move it forward a bit.
The data is distributed normally.
So just before I click on play, this is Afolabi Oluwaseun. Afolabi had completed the project and she's presenting her solutions to the team. So let's listen. I'll just play it for a minute and then I'll stop.
While the rest seem to contain some outliers skewed to the left. So this is showing a multivariate analysis whereby I compared some of the columns with the target feature. Bank are those within the old adult age range of 46 to 65. Those with secondary academic qualification, and those who are married. Now, out of the entire customers within Nessus Bank, only 16.02% of them took out loan, with 1.8% defaulting. 1.8, as it seems, might sound little, but this could actually be 1-something billion in dollars or euros. Out of this 16.02% of customers who took out loan, only 4.2% of them actually defaulted. Now, let's see those guys who took out loan. We see that those within the...
Right? So that is somebody presenting our findings, and I'm sure you could see the passion and dexterity in presenting what she's done. So for the person that asked the question, am I going to present? Would I have to showcase what I've done? And absolutely 100% you would have to. Okay. Does data analytics, somebody's asking, can I do it and study? Of course. Again, I always tell people, and they learn late because they're almost done with their masters and they realize that, look, I don't have skills to compete to get a proper job when I'm done with my masters. So if you can, as early as you can, get started, get into the program, and you can learn the skills. Once you're done with your masters, you are completing with a degree and also the skill that is applicable in the real life work environment. So a large chunk, about 45% of our participants are master's students across the globe. Okay, across the globe, here in the UK, in Canada, in the US, they're doing their masters, they're doing their PhD, because the classes are on Saturdays and Sundays. You don't attend classes on Saturdays and Sundays. Okay, Microsoft Fabric is part of the program, the data analytics, the data science. I think I showed that Microsoft Fabric and also Chat GPT is a part of the program. Okay, I'm just going to see if I have any other questions and then we'll wrap up. Will Fabric be a part? Absolutely, it's a part of the program. I think I showed that earlier. So let me just go back quickly so you can see. Let me quickly go back. I think I showcased that earlier. Just give me 1 second and we'll go back to, yes. So if you can see my screen now, you can see number 6. This is for data science, Microsoft Fabric and Chat GPT for data science. And for data analytics, you have Microsoft Fabric and Chat GPT for data analytics. So it's a part of the program because you want to also equip yourself with the skills that clearly separates you from the competition. All right. Okay. I'm not sure we have any other questions. Now, for some of you, you asked questions around, if I have been doing strategy for the last 10 years, how do I transition? If I have been doing procurement for the last 5 years, how do I transition? So if you have questions that you feel that you want to have a one-on-one with me, to sit down with me, I'll walk you through what you need to make a decision. If you have more questions, if you are in the WhatsApp community, if you are not, my colleagues, I think they've been sharing the link in the chat. Okay, if you received an email, if you received a message to join this session today, you definitely get a recording, you get all the materials, and you'd also get the opportunity, if you want to have a one-on-one with me. We can have a conversation. And if you have questions specific to your current own personal situation that you want answered, I can help you out with that as well. Daula is saying we don't have. When did you start, Daula? Did you start in July? If you're in the July cohorts, it is new. So it's a new module added to the curriculum. Okay. When we add a new module to the curriculum, okay, you're in the May cohorts of absolutely. It won't be it's not in May, it's not in June, it's not in July. So it is a new module. There are new modules we are adding to the program for August. All right. But what we also do is when we add a new module, we make it available to our participants that joined earlier. So if you joined from January or even in 2022 or 2021 or 2020, you'll get access to those new classes for free. Okay. So Daula, you'll get access to the Microsoft Fabric and also the Chat GPT for data analytics. You're welcome, Daula. All right. So if we don't have any other questions, I think we'll call it a day. It's been a long day spent, and I'm sure you've learned 1 or 2 things. I would have loved to, the sequel that didn't come up the other time, honestly, I'd have loved to show you. Let's see if I'll try it one more time. I know time is fast spent, but I'm just going to see if it comes up this time around. If not, we just call it a day and then we wrap up. That's on the Fabric. I know I said I was going to show you, but let's see if it comes up. 5 minutes. If it comes up, I'll show you what it looks like. If not, we just call it a day, and then we wrap up our session. So I'm going to try to log in again. All right, let me close this. So just bear with me. I'll try to log in again and see if it comes up. Hopefully it does. Right, so I'm just going to try it again one more time. Okay, so I'll go to data engineering. I'll go to workspace, first workspace. I'll go to the lake house, lake one, lake house. All right, I'll click on that. It's going to load my lake house for me. Like I said, Mohammed has worked on it, but he made me an administrator so I can also look at the data. All right, so this is how it would come up if I just click on it. But then I want to write queries. So let's click on that and see. Let's see if it loads this time around. Okay, hopefully it comes up. Hopefully, fingers crossed. Fingers crossed. Shouldn't take this time. The fact that it's even taking time like this means something is up. But let's still wait. Okay. Oh, honestly, I really don't know why this is happening. And whenever it gives that error, if I write a query, it's also going to give me an error 100%. So it also give me an error. So let's see. Let me try this. Yeah, it's always going to give me that error. Okay. So unfortunately, it's not coming up. I really don't know why this is. I've written several queries here. You can see my queries, query 1, query 2, query 3, query 4. This is one I wrote, I think, the last time. But from query 1, it should have come up, but yeah, it's giving me this error. I'll see why it's giving me this. Perhaps what I feel. Okay, Mohammed, you want to say something? Go ahead, please.
Yeah, I just want to share my screen. So I ran it while you were speaking, like some minutes ago, and it's worked.
Yeah, you ran it on yours. Okay.
Yeah. So I'll just quickly share my screen just to show how it looks like.
Please, I'm going to stop sharing so you can go ahead and share. So for those who are still on the call, so they just see that.
Yeah, you see how it looks like.
Exactly.
So if you can see my screen now, you'd see that I wrote these SQL queries, and you can see the output. Select star from Fabric customer data, and you can see the same data I work with in Python. You can see customer ID, gender, age, and you can go ahead, query your data, and then extract whatever information you want.
So what I want you to do, Mohammed, select the first query. So this is how you transition from your query into Power BI. So once you run your query and you select the query, you click on visualize results.
Yeah.
Visualize results. Okay. So once you click on visualize results, it comes here, you click on continue. So click on continue, Mohammed. So once you click on continue, it takes you into Power BI environment immediately. So you can start building dashboards from your query. So you write the query to extract your data, and then you select that query, click on visualize, it opens it into a Power BI environment. All right. So if you just give it a few seconds, it's going to open up your Power BI. And from there, you can start to do what? Build your visualization. Okay. So sometimes, again, the platform is new. So it's just usually it's previews you have available, and for some other, so it's just it might take a while to load, but it would come up as well. Okay, so let's just wait a bit, and then you'd see that it opens into your Microsoft Power BI. While it's opening, somebody's asking what's the difference between data analytics and business analysis. They are two totally different things, two totally different. All right. As a business analyst, you are that intermediary between the development team and the business. So as a business analyst, you'll be speaking with the business, asking them, in carrying out elicitation, getting requirements, building requirements, documents, and taking those requirements to the development team that would build the application and solutions to help the business optimize their processes. So your focus as a business analyst is business process optimization, looking at the current processes, identifying where there are loopholes, where there are inefficiencies, and then you would create solutions to optimize those inefficiencies. So you have the current state, which is the as-is state, the current process. And then once you've optimized, you have the to-be, which is where the company wants to be in order to do what? Have optimized processes. So that's one of the major differences. So you would have interviews, you would learn how to manage projects because you're going to be involved in managing projects, those automation projects. So you would learn Agile, you'd learn Scrum, you'd conduct Scrum ceremonies, you'd come up with business requirement documents, process optimization. So you'd learn draw.io to optimize processes and so on and so forth, to create your wireframes and also your process flows. You would also learn how to use Confluence for collaboration. You'd learn how to use Jira for project tracking and all of that. So as a business analyst, you are interacting with the business, understanding the requirements, and also the development team that will be building applications. You manage those projects as well. As a data analyst, you're not doing all of that. You are coming up with solutions based on the data that the company has. Financial analytics, you are working with financial data. You are helping the business understand what the data is all about, their financial related data. So you'll be carrying out financial analysis with different ratios, valuation, coming up with valuation for businesses, building business models, carrying out scenario and sensitivity analysis. So as a financial analyst or a financial analytics professional, you're a data analyst, but a little bit of focus with financial related data, if that makes sense to you, Firdaus. Okay, so again, Mohammed, I think is just a little bit of perhaps the system is a bit.
It's down now. Maybe they're experiencing a downtime now.
Yes. Once you select your queries, you click on visualize, it takes you into Power BI. So that's just what I want us to also understand. Is it possible that we could provide with various software packages for data analytics? Are we to source them? Most of the, apart from Excel, all the other packages you need are available for free. Your Power BI is free, Tableau is free, your SQL is free, Python, your Jupyter notebook is free. You have free, all the tools you need are free, apart from Excel. Okay, so that's all. And Excel, if you need to buy a code, is actually very cheap, about 2,000 plus Naira, if you're paying in Naira per month, or about $29.99. Sorry, I beg your pardon, about $299 or so per month, which is quite cheap. Check your DM. I can't see anything in my DM, Anastasia. I can't see anything in my DM. You want to send it again? Okay, I've never gotten the recording. I have been waiting to the end of the sessions. Also, sorry about Daudu. Daudu, just to also find out, did you feel the attendance? Did you feel the attendance? What's my handle? Thank you for that question. So everybody, I need you to follow me. Go on LinkedIn. My name is Adeza on LinkedIn, Adeza Suleiman. Follow me, follow Tenalytics across all our socials. My name is Adeza Suleiman on LinkedIn. All right. You can also follow me on Instagram at Adeza Suleiman. Okay, on Instagram. I'm not very active on Twitter, but you can also follow me on Twitter. Okay, and follow Tenalytics across. All right, I'm just typing that in. Follow Tenalytics across all socials. So all socials, we are Tenalytics. Tenalytics, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn. Follow us across, and let's get to network and interact. All right. Thank you very much, guys. I think I'm going to call it a day at this point. Like I mentioned, when you get the recording, you get the materials. If you have questions, please feel free to schedule a session. And I hope you've learned one or two things today. For us, the focus is on getting the word out there, getting as many people that look like me, who are Africans and people of the Black community, into tech. So I want to go into that next big organization and find an African working there, finding a Nigerian, finding a Ghanaian, a Kenyan. All right. And this is where it all starts from. My take for you, Abdul, is take that step. All right. Join the program, make your first deposits, take the step, and be a part of the program starting on the 5th of August. Thank you very much, guys. Have a wonderful week ahead. The weekend is gone very fast. It's gone like that. Have a wonderful week ahead. I hope to see most of you in the class. For those of you who want to get into, make that transition before the end of the year. It's almost, we're getting to the end of July, we move into August, and Q3 is fast coming to an end. So make that move, take that step. I'd love to see you in class, and let's start to change the narrative that Africans only have to do the menial jobs. We can get the best jobs out there. Have a wonderful week ahead, and until we see you another time, cheers, guys.